What's up, everybody? It's been a little bit, but we are coming back to do part three of this MauLer Unbridled Rampage response. Um, this time we are not going to have a ridiculously long prologue like the last two. I've been answering plenty of questions on the Escape Pod account, talking to people in the
Believe himself.
comments. Shut up. And it's been pretty cool. I'm still getting notifications now. Um oh, maybe we could look at these ones and have a bit of a prologue. Let's take a look at what I love this how it's just not showing comments at the top anymore. Uncompetitive wrote, I had a bash at the rewrite of Zack Snyder's Justice League. It would be better if the mother boxes comprised one that was able to communicate across space and one that was able to transmute matter, but only when the third was connected to them in a unity, as it was a source of unlimited power. A bit more explanation on that. Yeah, no, they could have explained it like that. I mean, that's kind of how I assume it works, but, it's an assumption. Darkseid would send Steppenwolf ahead of him to use them to terraform planets that he could then rule and to search for the perfect civilization embodying hope. The Darkseid could forge the perfect recipe for despair that could demoralize everyone and bring them enslaved under his will. A boom tube would appear above the continental landmass near the great city of Atlantis, and Steppenwolf would show up with the mother boxes ready to terraform the planet. However, an alien Green Lantern would have already come to Earth to warn its most advanced races about the invasion of the galaxy that had already taken place on other worlds, and was thought to have come from a parallel universe. And this threat would be the Amazonians and their island of Themyscira to Atlantis, and the Vikings from Norway. Steppenwolf would kill the Green Lantern and try to take his ring, only to fail to catch it and then get struck by Zeus's lightning bolts, and whilst momentarily stunned, would be open to attack by Ares. Steppenwolf would be injured and forced to retreat, leaving the mother boxes behind. Zeus would rip apart the two boxes that had been paired together, and the interdimensional portal that had brought Steppenwolf would vanish. So they don't just leave on the ships, like in the movie, I understand. Without the boxes, Darkseid could not travel the multiverse or make worlds habitable by him. It would take Darkseid another 10,000 years to make two more in search of the third. Okay, Darkseid would be pissed at Steppenwolf for failing him, and Steppenwolf would be keen to win back his master's favor, and in the meantime would be conquering planets in their own universe using conventionally slow interstellar travel, as without mother boxes all travel between parallel universes was impossible. Yeah, we're doing Snyder Cut. I'm probably going to give up and do some weeb shit, Shadowfall. I'm just reading this guy's brief, not so brief. He's just offering like a different idea. We'll probably only do this for a little bit. I think I did surrender at a certain point with this because I'm kind of just like not interested anymore. But it looks like this guy's put a lot of thought into the into writing a different version, which is super cool. I'm not gonna spend too much time because since you were the viewer, Shadowfall, we are going to yeah, he has all these comments, so there's a lot. Oh, we'll read this one though, real quick. MauLer exhaust. Man, this guy does not know how to do anything briefly. Oh god. He did a 12-hour review? What? Oh, excuse me? What? He did. He did a 12-hour review. He pushed YouTube to the brink. My god. Oh my goodness. And he did. Oh my goodness. Wow. A wide range. This guy has 119 subscribers and he's doing 12-hour reviews. What am I doing? What am I doing? I'm only doing like in parts. Wow. This guy blows me out of the water. A wide-ranging examination of how modern mainstream media narratives make it all but impossible to review a superhero movie, with reference to the controversies that surround the pathetic Ray Fisher, the toxic Snyder cult, the attempted cancellation of independent critic Jody's Corner, then the recent debacle surrounding Zack Snyder's appearance on a YouTube livestream, which led to geeks and gamers being implied to be racist, compounded by the libelous false allegations made by rewriting Ripley, and also unjustly smear movie critic MauLer and the Every Frame a Pause podcast. So this guy's a fan of MauLer like I am, but he did a 12-hour video, and his has less views and doesn't have as many comments, but there's obviously more to talk about, but people were probably much more intimidated. Like, he has a whole section about why MauLer's not alt-right. MauLer's monetized cyberbullying. Probably goes into why that's the QAnon. This is more about, like, the stuff surrounding it than it is the movie, it looks like. This guy has a lot to say. And we do not have time right now. But this guy seems cool. Hey, uncooperative. Let's do like a stream, dude. Let's go. Let's do a stream, and we can talk about anything you want, because if you're willing to make a 12-hour video about the surrounding stuff with that, he streamed it 3 weeks ago, so he did it before me. He puts out content, pretty varied, not much views, but he clearly gave a shit. Fantastic. How does QAnon have anything to do with the movie? Let's check it out real quick. Let's just jump right into the middle. It's only like a few minutes. Let's do it. You and me. You and me, Raina.
The conspiracy developed into a domestic terror threat. QAnon, a conspiracy theory.
What?
Which alleges that Satan-worshipping pedophiles hold high positions of power within government and threatened former President Donald Trump.
What does this have to do with?
That's true, and the
I'm looking through. I don't see what this has to do. This probably has to do with the larger context of defending or challenging allegations. This is wild. So people did show up to the live stream. I think the thing is like...
the QAnon thing is there's supposed to be one or...
This guy clearly has a lot to say. Again, more power to him. Like, that's cool that he put the effort in. I can't do 12 hours of that level of energy. It's like pretty low. No offense. Like, this guy's, he's probably cool, but it's easier to kind of... But he's clearly very intellectual. He has he doesn't know how to do things halfway, which I can respect. But he does say something up top where I think he agrees with me, where he says, MauLer exhausted himself rushing out his diss on Zack Snyder's Justice League to counter the love it was garnering, and whilst fatigued, he railed at the notion of there being potentially more Snyderverse, presumably because he thought it would be something culturally relevant he anticipates he will hate, and expect himself to have opposed all those who may love it before he has seen any of these Snyderverse films and formed his opinion on them. Oh. Yeah. I mean, that's basically my take on it. That's kind of my whole interest with doing this video in the first place. Was again, because let's be real. I mean, I don't prefer Snyder's take on the material, but I'm trying to reach a point now. Like, as a creative, I'm trying to find trying to be as constructive as possible. And what I found is that if you're doing constructive criticism, people will 100% be more likely to listen to you if you sound more reasoned, even if you're saying the same argument. But even though I do have the passion, you can be passionate without being, too vitriolic, even if you don't like something. So I'm really trying hard to, even though it's funny, because, I wouldn't say I'm, one of those angry reviewers, but I've definitely done podcasts where I've gotten, irritated. And to be fair, it's not wrong to get irritated. I'm saying that overall, it's more constructive to take a more reasoned approach. That video that I did that was a response, I'm sure there was people, you looked at all those comments, and you can go to those videos. I responded to every single comment nearly. I got tons of feedback of people going hey, listen, good job being very well reasoned and very calm and just kind of breaking down why you disagree. And even people who didn't agree with my opinion or thought my opinion was wrong, they were complimenting my approach. So what that is telling me is you can respond and create more discourse without creating any toxicity if you handle it right, and I think I'm handling it right. But that's very interesting that Uncooperative says that. He then says, MauLer's guilty of bad faith criticism, which is what's okay. So more props to Uncooperative. This man makes a 12-hour video. Part of it is like defending MauLer and like why he's not alt-right. From what I could see, obviously it's more nuanced, but he spends all that time giving him a fair shake and EFAP and going into it, but then he doesn't hold back with this. He goes on to say this shouldn't be a thing with his objective method. Well, it shouldn't be, but nobody's perfect, you know. As his feelings about a work shouldn't factor into what he thinks about it was made. But this is true. MauLer chose to infer that Wonder Woman raped Handsome Man. That's in 1984. I view it the same way, or at the very least, that's the way I have to read it with no other, because that context of the possessing body is so ill-defined. So he says, objectively speaking, it's indeterminate whether a handsome man gave his consent or did not. Well, I mean, yeah, we didn't see it on screen, but given the context I have, he can't really, because he's not there. He is seen doing neither, Comparative said, but yeah. He doesn't like the film Wonder Woman 1984 is allowing his subjective opinion to bias his objective critique of it. He should drop the pretense of being an objective critic as he is clearly biased. But MauLer doesn't say that he's 100% objective. But what he says is that his goal is to be as objective as possible. Which is why I made this video in the first place. Because I do like his content. I wouldn't spend the time responding to him in this way if I didn't care, right? So that's his goal. So, you know, he can't like drop the pretense, because if his goal is to be more objective than not, if it's his goal, it doesn't matter if he's less so. To help him, we should therefore create discourse around if it is being objective or not, which is the point. So I don't get the whole drop the pretense, but he does kind of bear. I kind of understand, because he does kind of use that as like a, well, I make sure to be objective, so therefore, you can't just, you have to actually break down my points. But it's regardless. Then quote unquote comparative. Then I saw Heel versus Babyface make out that Wonder Woman had raped a dude, and the other YouTube critics, then MauLer and EFAP. I came up with that too independently, and yeah, I didn't like the movie, but it's definitely weird. Like, if that scene, the genders were reversed, that would not fly. That would not fly at all. Which doesn't mean anything in particular, just that I noticed it and felt weird about it, because I didn't like the writing of that anyway, so it's just another reason. But it says that, like, comparative, I didn't watch the stream about 84 to be fair, but he says that if MauLer would be objective about it and not do this controversial clickbait consent narrative, he did, and then I lost all respect for him. I think that's kind of silly to lose respect over him over. Not that, okay, that's dumb. I can't tell someone what they respect is silly or not, but it just seems a bit weird that that would be the thing. But it doesn't matter. It's your opinion on it, or it's your perspective on it, I should say. What his EFAP community think about his objective critique is just a joke to me now. As I see them as sheep, have yet to realize he's just another subjective critic with his own bias. I think that's the problem, though, because, like, you should never say that you're an objective critic. You should just make objective criticisms, and then if someone uses the defense as subjective, you say, well, what's subjective about my point? And then the discourse can go from there. So I think that's the thing, is you shouldn't even take a stance. You should just always try to balance subjectivity and objectivity, because it is about balancing it. Yeah. This isn't really relevant to Zack Snyder. It's more about MauLer. He might still cover MauLer's dreadful take on Zack Snyder's Justice League, but it seems like a waste of time for me to exhaustively rebut his exhaustive Rampage. Well, guess what I'm doing? I know I like the movie despite its flaws because it improved every character enormously compared to the original. I would say most characters. So making a video to say MauLer is wrong to prefer Joss Whedon's cut seems a bit stupid to me, as anyone who thinks 2017 is better than Zack Snyder's shouldn't have their opinion on movies listened to, let alone exhaustively critiqued. I think that's a bit weird, because you say that focus on the objective. I guess because you're not taking the stance of being objective in this case, but I think I think you can find things in Whedon's cut that are better. That's been my stance. Is there are things that you can say or you can argue are better. But he says here, if he was actually being objective, then there might be some promise of being able to persuade him with an objective counter-argument. As he said it in a process, then he can make mistakes. Exactly, such as the decade in which he thought the opening of Black Panther was set. But I think I finally grasped... Well, the thing about that, though, is that's a minor thing. Admitting you're wrong about getting, like, a date wrong is not nearly the same as saying your whole video is kind of a waste of time. But I understand what you're saying. Quote, but I think I have finally grasped he is MCU fanboy ready to make biased hate against these rival DCU movies, hiding beneath the thin veneer of this is not how I feel about it while trashing anyone who says this is just my opinion when giving an inescapably subjective opinion about how they responded emotionally to some art. And then he links Ben Shapiro's and 12-hour review of Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is more like probably a 4-hour review with a bunch of other stuff around it, which power to you, but interesting. This guy seems to be kind of having a more extreme reaction than what I had. I don't know, man. We're going to try this, and then I'm going to keep going, and then if I want to stop, man, I might just stop and switch to some reviewing this other guy's content regarding some weeb shit.
Desert.
Thank you for repeating what I just said.
It's completely dried out. I knew her.
Well, that makes one of us.
No, they forget it.
I knew her.
Well, that makes one of us.
When my parents fought in the wars.
Ben Shapiro, yeah. Ben Shapiro is a meme. But not like Alex Jones. He's not that cool.
She took me in.
This is getting a little weird, isn't it? Whedon didn't just add ADR lines to improve continuity. He made the people in these films more human.
Did he just bail?
The weird thing is, like, I don't know. I guess trans rights. There you go. The weird thing about that is, like, Whedon and Snyder have different intents with the material. So saying that he made them more human, while on the whole making something more human is good, there's definitely, like, Stanley Kubrick films. There are certain films of his where you could make characters more human, but then that would defeat the purpose. So we'll see where it goes, but I'm saying that it's a more nuanced thing than
Is this guy still bothering you?
Civilians.
We gotta pull these things apart. A couple more seconds. You'll see your opening. I think we could take it.
Good. So I really like being alive.
So do I. Clark. I take it back.
3, 4, 5,
I
6.
want to die.
Oh my god, it's like the first time Superman actually had a proper fucking laugh in this dismal, tormented universe.
But I'm also a big fan of justice.
Fuck yes, I will take this cheesy-ass line over watching Nightmare Superman slice body parts off screaming enemies while firing his laser at innocent people. You are welcome to prefer otherwise.
Pew pew. Batman wasn't in his... Sorry, wow. Superman wasn't in his right mind when he was revived, so... are you saying that in the Joss Whedon version he wouldn't have done that? It's pretty clear he would have. It's just like tonally it was different. I kind of like what Joss Whedon did with Superman. It was more the Superman I like. Entirely consistent? No, but he did come back from the dead, so it's like, it's whatever.
How about we compare the goobers?
We have families.
Why does everyone keep telling me that?
Whedon's Steppenwolf is so committed to the evil bad guy trope that he's baffled by the idea of appealing to a family as a reason to spare a life. It's pretty damn cheesy, plenty to have fun with.
Okay, so earlier he said Whedon makes the characters more human, but then Steppenwolf, he praises the fact that he's not more human. So I guess my thing is, like, I guess MauLer's standard is the hero should be more human, and the villain, it's fine if he's not, because he's serving a plot function. Which is an argument. I just thought it was interesting to note.
We have families.
Then you have weakness.
Wait a minute. Isn't your entire thing in this movie to get back to your demon alien family under the wing of Daddy Darkseid? Also, that line is pretty damn edgy. Make of them what you will. Though I think it's worth highlighting that in Snyder's version, the Justice League simply arrive and see Silas is in trouble. Whedon's has a quick pan before that, showing Silas still wears his wedding ring, comboed up with his expression bolstering his connection to his family, in what would be a drastic situation. Probably would have been worth keeping that.
Yeah, it's a good shot. You can't keep it if it wasn't in your original cut. Like, I addressed this in the previous videos, but I'm going to keep saying it because it needs reiterating, is if there's anything in the Joss Whedon cut that is not in the Snyder cut, it's because Snyder, from what he says, didn't watch the Whedon cut, didn't intend to include a single frame. He is going off of a 4-hour version, or like a 3 hours and 50-minute version of his 5-hour assembly cut. So, invalid, but it's a good shot.
In one of the last shots of the League staring out into the world, Joss has them looking at life return to this evil villain base, obviously on point with the vibe of the film. Similarly, Zack's suitable visual that meshes with his vision, a murky, decrepit, smoke-laden wasteland. I think it's clear that Joss was trying to make repairs. And in regard to the characters of Aquaman, Vulko and Mira seem to be very invested in the mother box. They even turn up at the end to congratulate Arthur. I like how he locks arms with Willem Dafoe as if these guys did fucking anything. The Aquaman stuff is a lot like the Batman stuff, and the Flash stuff, and the Wonder Woman stuff. You know, worse in the Snyder Cut. Cyborg has more flesh, but he also has a metric ton more fuck-ups. Then we have the
see previous videos.
Amazon Queen, Lois, Mira, Martha, Lex, Vulko, Darkseid, Sword.
See, it's funny because he showed the Green Goblin clip when he's talking about Willem Dafoe. I'm just kidding.
None of them are characterized beyond their function in the plot. Even the meaningful Martha-Lois scene didn't have Martha in it.
Yeah, okay. I said we were going to get to Martian Manhunter. 100% Martian Manhunter is trash in this film. That scene should have been Martha. What the hell?
Apparently, the Martian Manhunter was very invested in getting Lois back on track to being a fucking journalist.
You haven't been to work since Clark died? I can't. There is something you can do for me, honey. Come back to the living.
This man seriously needs to reevaluate what he's invested in.
The thing, here's one other thing, is like, a similar problem exists. So when Captain Marvel came out, it kind of destroyed the Marvel universe for me, because you immediately start asking, well, where were you in the previous films? Were you just off in space? Why did Nick Fury never call her any of the other times? Like, why didn't he call her during Thor: The Dark World when the whole of existence was going to get destroyed? Just stuff like that. So DC now has a similar problem where originally, when Wonder Woman 1 existed and then Batman v Superman existed, it was just, okay, she walked away from the world, she was fed up with man's mistakes. Whether you like that or not, there was a reason. Whereas now that 1984 is out, it's like, no, she was there the whole time. Nobody ever found out, saw her. There was no interest in pursuing who she is. She apparently sat out the Kryptonian invasion because she was just too far away, even though the world was at stake. You know, dumb stuff like that. So Martian Manhunter being there and being the general is definitely like, why didn't you help me during the events of Man of Steel? So I'm 100% with that.
But more to the point, why pretend to be Martha instead of talking to her as the general that she has a relationship with?
Yeah,
Especially since if she references this discussion in
because it's a retcon.
Future, she will realize someone fucked with her. You're going to scare both herself and Martha for no reason. The fact is, he can go over her issues with Clark's death, not necessarily Superman's. He can talk about her work and give her encouragement. Instead, he now risks everyone seeing him go in as the General or Martha and leaving as the opposite or the same, and have everyone questioning just what the fuck is happening for the General to be there. But he also turns into the Martian for a moment in the apartment building for no reason at all.
So the audience knows. Yeah, it's dumb.
Why risk getting caught? Is it just to make fans cream their pants at their favorite comic book guy? Man, if only there was a cut that kept the substance of this scene.
Referring to the scene where the guy is making, oh, it's a she jokes, and they do the thirsty reference. Get out of here, dude.
Maintained the characters involved and removed the Martian element, considering.
And then they have that scene. Say no more.
How redundant it was. I honestly think it.
That's like such a bad. Oh, a clearly superior scene that is terrible. What?
Shouldn't go understated that this meaningful discussion and connection between Clark's mother and Clark's love interest is removed for no other reason than bait. It's also sad to know that Bruce didn't help out Superman's mother with her house, especially after the moment they shared.
Zack Snyder's Justice League addresses that by saying that she kept it secret. You know, it's that proud, like, Midwest American thing. You know, I get it.
But whatever, everyone sucks in this universe. Speaking of which, the villains, ladies and gentlemen. Darkseid wants to take over the world, running exclusively on nostalgia for fans because nothing of substance comes out of him.
Nostalgia. I mean, again, going off what Sal told me, he doesn't know who Darkseid is, and he thought it was fine. He liked it. It was cool. So if it was trying to be purely fan bait, it functioned in a different way, I guess. Voice crack?
Except, wah.
Yeah, I mean, Thanos and Guardians of the Galaxy. I'll just keep going to that. That's all,
I'm evil. At least we have Steppenwolf, right?
Yeah.
What was his motivation again? Well, unlike the Justice Cut, where he was a powerful entity looking to facilitate the unity and ascend to godhood as a...
Except that's in the Joss Cut, he mentions he's doing it for Darkseid, so... wrong, but...
reprieve from his exile, conquering the Earth in the process. He is now a powerful guy looking to conquer the Earth for Darkseid, because he betrayed him once.
Yeah, so Steppenwolf is made more human. To go to what you were previously saying, Joss made the characters more human. Well, here, Steppenwolf is more human because he wants to get back to his family. He made a mistake, and this film is Steppenwolf's arc to redeem himself. That's good motivation, instead of being a guy who just likes to conquer things, which is your critique about Darkseid. So, MauLer, how can you have that critique about Darkseid, but then Steppenwolf, he is more complicated, and so now that's bad? I don't know. I know that's not... I didn't break that down in good faith, but you understand why that's a bit weird.
That was worth the extra 8 scenes of Steppenwolf.
Yes, 100% it was. I actually gave a shit about Steppenwolf. I felt bad for him. That scene where Desaad's like, you betrayed him, and you can see, like, the CG is actually very good. Like, you can see the emotion on Steppenwolf's face. Good stuff. Like, definitely keep him more present throughout the film so that I care more when they beat him. Because if it's a lackey, the less screen time he has and the more building up of Darkseid, it will make Steppenwolf redundant. So having Steppenwolf be more present and Darkseid be the figure in the background is ultimately for the betterment of the structure.
It's certainly worth the 2 hours. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Praising this edition as if Steppenwolf is incredibly strong as a character now.
He's way better, so I'll take it.
He simply works for someone who has the exact same motivation as Steppenwolf from Joss's cut.
Yeah, because Joss Whedon changed it, right? So, like, that's not Zack Snyder's fault that Joss Whedon kept the motivation and just added the character there. That's not his fault.
Do you guys even remember the theatrical version? And what
yeah, pretty well.
level of subtlety was used to get this motivation across to the audience, I wonder?
Steppenwolf, who might have sat here by the side of the Great One.
Desaad, let me make a plea to him that I may come home.
Oh, They just start discussing his core motivation.
Mighty Steppenwolf, undone by his self-pride.
Let me make a plea to it.
Yeah, I mean, we'll think about the context. All of Steppenwolf's guys are here, and Desaad's basically calling him out in a way to shame him, right? He's transmitting his image to him, and it's exposition, but that scene, that exposition made me feel more for Steppenwolf than every single second of him in Joss Whedon's cut. So if the exposition is so unnecessary, how is it then that much more important that it makes the character that much richer? So even if it's not great writing, it's something, right?
You betrayed him.
I saw my mistake.
Oh man, nobody talks like this, where we reiterate past mistakes even though the person already knows, as a way to shame them, and then they say, hey, listen, I'm told you for the 100th time, it was a mistake. That never happens between human beings. Oh wait, yeah, it totally does. We do that all the time, and there's clearly beef, right?
I slaughtered those who sought his throne.
Like, wow, they just lay out everything both of them already know.
Yeah, like I said, there are moments when you go, oh hey, like that time when you crashed the car when I allowed you to drive it, and then the person will go, I told you for the 100th time it wasn't my fault, it was the other guy. We totally have conversations like that all the time. It's not unnatural to me. It's something that I've experienced and that we've all experienced, I think, at one time or another.
For the sake of the audience,
He will be pleased. He will see my worth again.
this is considered to be a strong addition.
Yeah.
Still. Oh, the Great One, 50,000 more worlds.
Wait, what? 50,000 planets? How the fuck is he gonna do that? What?
That's the point, MauLer. That is completely the point. He's like, oh, can I redeem myself? Oh yeah, just get me 50,000 worlds. 100,000 worlds, and Steppenwolf gets him 50,000. Well, you only got 50,000 more. Oh, this took me like thousands of years. Yeah, I know. It's a punishment. It's similar to, it's similar to what's a good example? It's like for an example, Pirates of the Caribbean 2. There's that scene where Jack Sparrow, he owes Davy Jones his life, and it's about time he paid up, and then he goes to Davy Jones, and Davy Jones, just because he likes watching him squirm and he knows it doesn't make a damn bit of difference, says, oh yeah, if you bring me 100 souls in offering to me in 3 days, yeah, I'll let you go, knowing that he can't do it. And it's only when he finds the anti-life equation that Darkseid actually gives a shit about him again. Or not gives a shit about him, but will forego the punishment. So that's completely intentional by the film. It's not saying how is he going to do that is exactly the point. Desaad and Darkseid don't care if he does or not.
Villains in this film have been proven to be retarded already from everything they forget, alongside
See previous videos.
their multiple opportunities through both the boom tube and the big old portal device to invade Earth at its weak.
I can't believe I was going to sit this out and not do it. I'm actually getting back into it again. This is good. I just need a break.
With their armies after establishing the planet has everything they want, and they see Steppenwolf has almost won, but they do nothing. Not even Elizabeth Warren has the balls to get in there and make a difference. Hey, remember the big fight? Why didn't he just set down in the middle of some random island to commit the Unity? It literally burns the Earth and gives him control over the inhabitants. It sounds pretty useful, dude. Why go to a place where all of the armies are going to meet you?
Well, we see that he is a warrior. He, at this point, from what we can infer, wants to face them and show them their doom as it happens. And then later on, now he's not doing that. He's sitting on his throne. So he clearly learned from what you're suggesting, or we just don't know the full context of this scene. But I'm willing to bet the former is the intention.
Nearly all of them are landlocked, you stupid fuck. The Atlanteans are going to be way too slow to catch up to you, and you can blast them with your giant fuck-off spaceships. Maybe you lost the fight because you put your gimpy, defenseless, copy-pasted sorcerers in the center of the battlefield, doing fucking nothing, only to be killed by a normal-ass arrow. Imagine he put them—
Well, I mean, normal, but yeah.
behind his ships and protected them. In fact, how did they know you were coming here? It all has to be figured out.
Why didn't Sauron seal the seal the doorway to Mount Doom, MauLer? You know, it's, I know, like, listen, Lord of the Rings, my favorite movies. I know Wolf has said they're his favorite movies. I know you, I think at some point you've said that they're some of your favorite movies. Let's take that. Okay, why didn't Sauron seal the doorway to Mount Doom? Oh, they never could have gotten in. He would have won. Why didn't he do that? What is he, stupid? No, it's it's kind of the conceit, right? Addressing my earlier suggestion that he's showing them their doom. He's gonna crush them as he's crushed a billion other worlds. So I'm not saying that's a great defense. I'm saying, for example, in Lord of the Rings, why didn't, not even the eagle thing. The eagle thing is pretty understandable. There's defenses. They would see you coming, but why didn't he just seal the entrance to Mount Doom or anything, right?
Out in the modern day. Did you warn them? Like, you didn't have to set down here, Darkseid. This is fucking embarrassing. Man, maybe a cut where you remove all of the Darkseid scenes, all of the bonus step.
Wait, MauLer, but then if you remove the Darkseid scenes and replace it with Steppenwolf, the same thing happens. Maybe if you did, MauLer's like, maybe if you did this in the Joss Whedon cut, it would fix it, but it's the same problem in your mind.
Steppenwolf scenes and the additional nonsense world building could be made. Maybe that would give the story more coherency. Who knows? What we do know is that dialogue for Steppenwolf was terrible, and the movie is filled.
Clearly not. If people, like, clearly not, since it added character to him. It made me understand him better.
With it, because Zack is terrible at dialogue.
No man in the sky intervened when I was a boy to deliver me from daddy's fist and abominations.
Not to mention the DCEU is pretty terrible at dialogue.
Handsome. Hunka hunka!
But like, you know, what are the examples?
Who are you? The lasso of Hestia compels you to reveal the truth.
Why the fuck would you explain what your truth lasso does to this man when you're trying to...
Because it's part of, like, the incantation. In pretty much every media I know, the first time she uses the lasso in whatever media, the comic, again, I haven't experienced all media, but the lasso of Hestia compels you to tell the truth is like part of the incantation. It's the whole point. You know, that seems kind of weird.
To find out everything you can as quickly as you can to save people's lives. His personal knowledge of the lasso's function makes no difference. He will tell the truth regardless. Was all this because you can't write expository dialogue?
As I talk to my father, who's still in prison for the murder of my mother, which he didn't commit. Yeah, how did I get interested in criminal justice? I can't remember.
I am a drag on your life.
Wow, isn't it convenient that the first time we see this significant background character from Barry's life, they spill out all of the important details about both?
And yet, if Zack Snyder had taken another hour to have like 3 other scenes before this, then MauLer would be going, oh, this doesn't add anything. Why do we have so much unnecessary material with the Flash? I'm not saying it's like the perfect, it's not necessarily how I would write it, but it's not like horrible.
Their characters and what they both want.
I want you to listen to.
Because, okay, so we have to remember that writing is simply focusing on the most important moments, the most interesting moments of a character's life. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case for every single scene of the Snyder Cut. I'm saying that would I rather see a scene of him, if this is the movie I have to be introduced to the Flash, would I rather see a scene of him going there and they just kind of talk for 20 seconds about, oh, how's the job hunt going? Oh, it's going fine. Oh, you're not opening up. Yeah, I know. And then we have like 3 more of those scenes, and then we have this scene. Or is it more expedient to just show this scene? Probably just show this scene, I guess.
Me, because I mean this.
Plus, Billy Crudup is killing it in this scene. I mean, he usually kills it. In this scene, I'm saying specifically.
I want you to give all that up, and I want you to stop coming to see me.
Was all that because you can't write expository dialogue?
Ryan Choi, Director of Nanotechnology. That's your thing.
Yup. That's my thing.
Wow, why would that guy say it's your thing and then you repeat it's your thing, right?
Because he's like playing around. You know? Weird.
And Choi, is it because that's a reference to the second atom? Is all that because you can't write?
Or it's explaining what the guy does there, so you better understand his function in the plot. I don't know. You usually like things explained, MauLer, so it's like, I don't know. It's like, it's harmless.
Expository dialogue.
Who have you ever loved?
This scene's bullshit for, that moment's bullshit because, well, of course, he his parents who died, he loved them.
You can't write expository dialogue.
Who have you ever loved?
Oh, you said that to Batman, the guy who
Knows exactly what it's like to lose someone he loves. Like a mother, a father, like an adopted son.
Wow, these lines are so good they just write themselves. Wish I was so talented as to point out that Batman loved his parents. You stupid fucks. I'm just so glad that we were able to fully understand exactly who these people are through their words and their actions, not just expository dialogue.
We understand who the...
I mean, again, the expository dialogue in the Flash scene and the Steppenwolf scenes establish their character and their arcs and how they feel. Which to me, that's what you want to do in a scene. So even if it is expository dialogue, it's not automatically negative. Are there other ways you could portray it? Sure, but those scenes got it across. You know, like, and this scene, this is the first time we've had the Joker and Batman on screen together in this continuity. Like, and the Suicide Squad doesn't count, but that was one of the best scenes of the movie, which was weird because it was Jared Leto, was actually paying off the Robin being dead thing from Batman v Superman. So, I mean, if we get payoff, I'll take this, you know?
These characters are by words and actions and not just expository dialogue.
Fucking hell, Brown Table, I was taking the piss. How could you possibly think this?
You need me to help you undo this world you created by letting her die.
Hey, you know what criminal justice would be for me? My son not wasting his life.
The dialogue is awful.
This one will be mine.
I belong to no one.
I actually don't remember that line being in the movie. That's pretty bad. The others are, it's nothing. It's not, it's weird. Whatever. yeah.
Will be mine.
I belong to no one.
That's actually really funny. Yeah, it's a terrible line. That one is, specifically.
Something is not working.
Well, no shit.
Down with the modern world. Back to the Dark Ages.
Oh, that scene that was also in Whedon's cut that you keep jerking off, MauLer? Weird.
Oh, this line, it's so bad. But, like, how do you even achieve this goal with blowing up 4 city blocks?
I mean, I already addressed this. A suicide bomber does not believe that their bomb is going to change the entire way of existence. It's a lot more complicated than that. We don't know who these guys are. They're reactionary terrorists, you know, so it's like, this is the first step. It's just so, one of his worst criticisms, and he brought that back for a second round. That's weird, dude. Ooh, cut that.
Do you get?
Oh, sorry. That's your signal. That means we have to go now.
Yeah, that's what that means.
It's so cool.
Oh, jeez.
Wait, that's also in the Whedon cut, though. I'm just saying.
I need friends.
Wait.
Good God, people thought that was a Whedon reshoot.
Who are you?
We're a small group of reactionary terrorists.
Why, when speaking the truth, would they call themselves reactionary terrorists?
What an odd thing to say. Because the lasso makes you tell the objective truth. If you can tell the truth through your subjective lens, then it would not totally be the truth from a certain point of view. I mean, would an Islamic terrorist not admit that they're reactionary to things that oppose their perspective on Islam. If they had the lasso of truth put around them, would they go, we're a small group of terrorists who don't like things, and I'm going to explain exactly why I'm justified, and I'm not reactionary. This is necessary, even though a terrorist, by definition, is reacting to something, unless they're just trying to cause fear. So it seems like a perfectly suitable descriptor of what they are, I guess.
What? Okay.
I hate Atlanteans as much as you Amazons do.
Hate is useless.
Hate is useless? Jesus Christ.
What's wrong with that? I mean, could you go into more detail there?
Besides, who's gonna give you a reach around?
Oh god, stop. Everyone is so quick to shit on Joss's dialogue when Snyder's is absolute dog shit. At least the terrible mandated jokes were given a level of awareness. Snyder
what?
thinks this is glorious.
Do you really think that...
Oh, wow, they really just vanish. Huh? Oh, that's rude.
Oh look, the joke where everyone is faster than the Flash somehow. I guess that wasn't a Joss joke. Not fast enough to stop
and yet he kept it, so...
the rock that falls on top of people despite stopping the rest. Not fast enough to dodge the laser shot. Not fast enough
I mean, we've set up that the Flash is the least experienced of the heroes, so instead of expositing that to you, they actually show it to you through that stuff. But I guess in this situation, he would need expository dialogue for why specifically the Flash didn't stop that last rock, as opposed to just showing it to you. But again, it's not my opinion. I'm just saying, like, it's weird how there's...
to make his job interview, and not fast enough to catch that everyone left around him.
That's like... That's the joke. It's making him more human, right? Like, it was your thing about Joss Whedon, is that he makes the characters more human. So Zach is trying to show you that there's a human fallibility. In the last video, we were talking about how he saves the universe, or the planet, I should say, and you were just like, oh, he can just do it, and it's self-congratulating. What's going on? It's like, well, the movie is showing you that he has issues. He's not in total control of his powers, thereby showing you, not telling you, that maybe it's not going to work this time. And we know it's going to work because it's the climax of a superhero movie. However, it is not... It's a character trait they've established, and they reinforce. It's a weird criticism.
Not fast enough to outpace Victor to the fucking mother box. What a great Flash.
I mean, the Whedon cut has that scene too, so it's like... You said it improves all of the characters, so I'm just kind of going off that.
Strong man as strong as alone. You ever heard that? Ever hear of Superman? He died fighting next to me. My point exactly.
So this isn't a saying, it's Zach's dialogue for sure, but I mean, it's certainly not true, and man, if it were me, I would cut in a response to challenge it. Like, I don't know, Bruce saying that's the opposite of what that saying's supposed to be.
That's not a saying. That's the opposite of what the saying is.
Oh, Joss did that, and he...
MauLer's so desperate to, like, prop up the Whedon cut. He's like, oh, what a great line, the perfect response to that line. It's like,
managed to make it a superior scene despite chopping it down.
A superior scene where you have obvious green screen when Aquaman goes backwards and his tattoos are wrong. But, I mean, that's not necessarily going to make it completely worse or anything. It's just funny.
Down because he cut out this fucking bullshit. What the fuck is this?
We are being introduced to Aquaman, and his persona has been that of, like, this rough and tumble kind of, he's, like, strong, he's got an attitude, he's tough. This scene is meant to show you that there's, like, a sense of mysticism, like, if like, some ethereal sense to the Atlanteans, or him specifically. That's what I got out of it. It's supposed to be so that you see different sides of Aquaman, because these people clearly regard him with some respect or awe in their belief structure. That's how I took it from it. It's atmospheric. It sets a good tone for the first chapter of the story. Is it completely necessary? No, but that's what I got out of it. I don't know.
Seriously, was Ben Affleck just walking through these people hoping this will look and sound great in the end? Maybe that was the attitude for a lot of the movie.
Or the face where he's very distraught that he couldn't recruit Aquaman.
Since the soundtrack is pretty ass, wouldn't you say? For examples,
I'll say that it's not my favorite of the Snyderverse. No offense, Junkie XL, you're great. I love your work. Absolutely fantastic. You're really putting the work on YouTube. I love what you're doing. There are some melodies, motifs from specifically BVS I would have liked in there. I wouldn't say the soundtrack is ass though. It's definitely good. Just not my favorite specifically.
Zach decided we needed this track for walking upstairs. Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's like the first time the team's going into action, right? So it's like, oh, this is so epic. Like, he's trying to show you, like, oh, even walking upstairs, these are, like, these godlike mythic heroes. I know some people found that, like, a bit silly, but that's kind of, it's kind of the point, right? Like, it's kind of the point to be like, oh, man, this is so fucking cool, man. The Justice League is together, you know? So that's why they, like, Zack Snyder probably told Junkie XL, like, oh, it's the first time they're going upstairs. I want it to be like, bum, bum, as they're stepping. You know, we don't know, but, like, that's, you know, it's relatively small thing.
Why the fuck didn't you just cut this out? They're walking upstairs, dude. Could this film have some bloat?
It's the build-up to when they're all together.
Zack decided to use this song for The Flash.
No, I will stand by this. If you view this from the perspective of Zack Snyder has seen, we've had the 2 Quicksilver scenes, or 3, but fuck Dark Phoenix. We've had the 2 Quicksilver scenes, and then the Sonic the Hedgehog scene. They're doing this this idea of the speedster doing things while a song is playing, and then Zack Snyder's like, okay, what's my style of music? I'm gonna do it in this way, and I will defend this decision because this is exactly what matches the Snyderverse in terms of doing this take on a Quicksilver scene. Whether you like it or not, that's one thing or the other, but it just makes sense.
Singing eyes and fingers.
It's playing as he waddles to her rescue.
Yeah, it's simultaneously supposed to be comedic and epic and romantic. It's so weird. It's such a weird scene that it ends up becoming. I mean, it's subjective, but to me, it came across as very intentionally comedic, like contrary to what was happening, but it's whatever.
I can't.
Whereas in the Whedon cut, the opening, everybody knows that the hero's lost, is very much trying to, like, make you feel sad. Whereas here, it is not. It is being kind of a subversion of it. Because it ends with the hot dog thing. It's like, oh, okay.
You dreamed about.
Okay. I also brought my good friend Jack Daniels, Tennessee honey, finely crafted and smooth. Tennessee honey is the best whiskey I've had that's affordable. I'll say that. This shit you can just drink straight. Boom. Look at that. No reaction. And that's been in the freezer, so that shit's good. Now let's continue.
Eric's just said, "Did I dream you dreamed about me?" as he is grabbing a fucking sausage and...
Yeah, it's a joke. If this was in, like, Civil War... Now, MauLer's the type who's like, oh, this is, like, so outrageous, I can't believe it. But in Civil War, it's like, yeah, so the whole film has a very serious tone, and Spider-Man, he's just kind of making, like, really bad jokes in the airport scene. And MauLer, he's like, oh, well, no, that's fun. That's good and fun. And here, Zack Snyder is purposely trying to tell a joke, whether you find it funny or not, to make the Flash and his powers humorous and fun, while also presenting it in his epic style. So this is what Zack Snyder's epic style meeting comedy looks like. Whether you like it or not, this makes perfect sense for the objective of the scene, and it is totally what a MCU film would do. They would just use much more high energy music, like in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Slow motion. You can't make this up. Some of this shit comes out of nowhere.
Let us go now.
Boom.
You just end up pondering what the fuck is wrong with the person making these decisions. Like, this applies to changes too. Remember in Whedon's how Aquaman had his own awesome, cool dude bro epic scene where he awesomed his way through the ocean? Well, we got this track. Zack decided to change it to a different track.
Starry heavens above me.
Yeah, it's because Zack Snyder is trying to portray Aquaman as a tragic figure, right? I like the Whedon scene, and I like the song. It's cool. Like, it's Joss Whedon trying to show you, oh, isn't this fun? Zack Snyder's tone and vision are very tragic, so it would kind of clash hardcore in a way that wouldn't quite. But then again, Zack Snyder could have just played the song that Whedon played and it would serve the same function, but he's interested in making him more tragic because immediately after this he's going to go down and meet with Valko, which is a very it's a scene showing the tragic flaws of Aquaman's backstory and character, so it makes sense given what it's going to transition to.
I'm not really vibing with that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, MauLer. It's a completely different vibe. Like, if you're looking for fun, then the Joss Whedon cut's gonna be what you get, but that's not what Zack Snyder's trying to accomplish in the scene, whether we like it or not, or prefer it or not.
Oh, I don't think that matches well. Remember
why? So, it just goes to show you how a score or a song choice can change a scene. So in the Joss Whedon version, he's like, oh, isn't it fucking cool, Aquaman? He's like such a rebel. He's drinking liquor and throwing it in the ocean even though he's Aquaman. Oh, shit, man. Like, oh man, don't you want to fuck Jason Momoa? Isn't it great? And there's nothing wrong with that. Zack Snyder is saying, oh shit, like he saved a guy but feels no connection with mankind, and he's just drinking because he's trying to drink away his sorrows, basically. So no, it's not. It does fit. It's just it changes completely what the intent and tone of the scene is. It's not.
Remember Wonder Woman's theme, the thing they play when she's about to commit a war crime? Well, they do that in this with all the grace of a constipated Magikarp.
This is literally the same as the Joss Whedon cut. And I don't understand what was different about that musically as the song started. I don't know. Maybe he'll explain. Honestly, I thought the Wonder Woman theme was underplayed given the 4-hour runtime. The cool thing is that the Wonder Woman theme has been consistent over all the composers so far. Some use it more than others. I know 84 didn't use it as much as I figured it would. So actually, that's cool. I want them to be using the theme, because honestly, it felt like it didn't play enough. There was the new Amazonian theme, but given the tone, it made sense. And this is such a weird criticism. This is how it's been since BVS. In BVS, it was great, but it was also completely a meme. To have that, like, and then Wonder Woman 1 made it, like, bled it more. Oh, hi. Hey, Raina. I got some Tennessee whiskey. But then this is completely consistent. And Wonder Woman 1, you know, it blended it more into the score because she wasn't, like, fully Wonder Woman, which was great. Ooh, yeah.
But that ain't it for old Wonder Woman. As if she needed more damage from this cut, Zack decided that her theme should be encompassed by a ghastly fucking yodel every goddamn time she does fucking anything. Listen to this inane horseshit.
I got bad news for you, MauLer. You're probably gonna hate Gladiator or Kingdom of Heaven or any of those films that use that one-woman whale. It's just a trope. I liked it. It was a good theme for the Amazons and not Wonder Woman specifically. Kind of a mournful theme, but you know, to each their own.
Shall we?
The reason this is a weird criticism is MauLer himself has talked about how long the movie is. So when you put the clips back to back, of course it's like, oh man, I can't believe like they just play it repetitively all the time. It's like, well, it's spread over like 4 hours. So a leitmotif spread over that much time is not nearly as intrusive as the editing of MauLer would lead you to believe. And we officially have 1 hour left. This is such a weird thing. So, like, if you don't like the music, fine, but its usage is no different than, say, oh, the Imperial March plays too much in Empire, or, the Isengard theme. Why does that keep playing every time the Uruk-hai are on screen? It's like, well, it's the leitmotif. Like, it's a musical idea. And if you put it back to back, yeah, it's, like, seems overdone, but it's different if you watch the film. Although, yes, it does play a lot, and I would have preferred the guitar theme play more, but that's neither here nor there. Boom. I'm so scared this is gonna get claimed. Yeah, see, it's the Amazonian leitmotif, not just Wonder Woman. I don't know if I've gotten this far in the video. From here on, we're in unknown territory, ladies and gentlemen. No Clay Marino. No. That's why I'm pausing. Although MauLer's smart and he's edited it so it won't get claimed, but I'm still worried. I can't believe the composer used leitmotifs throughout the film.
This was so distracting that I struggle to think any human being on this planet failed to notice. But
I noticed it, and I noticed that it was intentional. It's not my favorite theme that Junkie XL has ever done, but that's neither here nor there.
Music is good at manipulating an audience. For instance, what if Superman's theme is played at several intervals?
Oh god, he's really gonna say that the Superman theme is, like, manipulative, so it's bad. It's the leitmotif, dude!
So do I, sweetheart.
Yeah, it's Superman. They're talking about Superman. You gotta play the Superman leitmotif, dude. And this scene, unironically, this scene actually made me feel a lot, you know? Love them, Cal. Love them. As we loved you. Now, finally, Zack Snyder's weird idea of let's take, like, 3 to 4 films to fully make him the Boy Scout that we know him to be. And we'll see if that even gets followed up on. But you know what? Good payoff. For 2 movies I didn't really like. Is MauLer really gonna argue that the Danny Elfman score is better? Is he really gonna do that? Cause I'm hard pass on that. I'm pretty reasonable, but that's like a hard no from me. I've been agreeing when I agree with him, but like that's a hard fucking no. The Danny Elfman score is not great. Like, from the pure disrespect Danny Elfman offered Zimmer and Junkie XL, regardless if you like their music or not, if you are composing in a series to just say, like, oh, it's disrespectful not to use the previous themes, fuck previous themes, and it's like, dude, did you use the 66 Batman theme for 89? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Is this because it's earned? No.
Yes! You have to wait so long. There's so many, like, you have to wait so long to get those Man of Steel leitmotifs back. You are exaggerating.
Superman is in the same worthless, dour state as he was in BVS. Oh, that movie is ass cancer too, by the way. We got videos on the MauLer channel all about it. Links in the description. Oh my god, again. The third. Okay, look at this. Batman hid under a rock. Now look what it does to everything else. Congratulations.
I am not going to respond to an EFAT Movies clip of BVS without the full context, but I will say that it's shooting up and out. Imagine being mad about a character's song. This is my point. Okay, I'm not a music guy. Like, I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm an editor. I don't compose music. One of the biggest things that bothers me is when series do not have leitmotifs that carry over. And you can argue the Amazonian theme was not introduced in Wonder Woman or whatever. But you need to keep consistent leitmotifs. It might only be subconscious if you don't notice it as a regular audience member, but it's supremely important. I would rather there be consistent use of leitmotifs than completely abandoning the score of a previous film in a series. Thank you, Reina.
The S is a symbol. It means hope. You can make a choice. They will join you. A choice. You will help them accomplish wonders. All the hopes and dreams of Krypton live in you now. You gave hope to their world. Love them like I love you. It's totally a choice, though. Bridge the worlds. Burn the fuck out of unborn children as a part of a civilization that had one chance to live again while
Except he has the Codex within him, and I'm mad that they haven't followed up on that plot point. So MauLer's criticism is correct, but in a wrong way.
Shing said container into Metropolis because you're an awful person and you aren't held accountable. Also love them. Bridge them. Lofty.
Okay, so I've been watching through DC again with Nathan, and I did like Man of Steel a bit more. Honestly, the biggest issue was the last, like, 20 minutes of the film. Because you can view... okay, so if we view Man of Steel as we're trying to do Batman Begins, it's not nearly as good as that. But Batman Begins ended with Batman letting someone die when his code is to preserve life, even if it's his enemies. So trying to do Man of Steel where Superman fucks up and he has to be held responsible is then ruined at the end of Man of Steel and then is not given its proper credence in BVS. That's neither here nor there. It's also weird. He's like, I understand what he's doing, but it's like...
meaningless dialogue to bring you...
It's not meaningless, though, because it's doing what you want. Like, I know that after this point, he, like, burns Steppenwolf's horn off. But Zack Snyder, it's not my preferred version of DC, but he prefers, because of our current world, like it or not like it, to have Superman gradually become the Boy Scout. Man of Steel is about Superman. Yeah, it's that was the reboot that started this whole franchise. It's not like great or my preferred version of Superman, but there is a vision there. I rewatched Man of Steel. I'm like, that's not as bad as I remember it being. Obviously, the Smallville fight's terrible. Too many people. There's like 20 9/11s happen. It's not great. But there is a vision, and there are good parts in Man of Steel. BVS, I liked a bit less on this go round. Or sorry, I liked a bit less than I liked Man of Steel this go round, but it was still like, just looking at the positives, a bit better. 20 9/11s, yeah. In Man of Steel. So if the Twin Towers are 9/11, plus, like, what is it, Building 7, and a bunch of the fallout damage, like, half of Metropolis gets destroyed. It's obscene and absurd, but we're getting off track.
Back to the stage you were at not a movie prior, which means Superman was just on pause and then punching things while in his black suit. And on top of that, putting on the black suit had no fucking story relevance at all.
Yeah, it is a reference to the return of Superman when he comes back from being killed by Doomsday. And you could say, oh, the black suit, that's so fucking edgy, man. No, don't stay on track. Your engagement is more important. It allows me to go off, and tangents are not bad. Do not worry about staying on track. Please say anything you want to, because it's engagement. That is valuable. Because you do not have experience with this franchise, yeah, any engagement is good engagement. It's not bad. Okay. The black suit does not have too much story relevance. I would have to see another movie with him with the black suit on. Maybe there's a dichotomy. The black suit is when he becomes the Boy Scout. I know he burns Steppenwolf's horn off, but we don't have enough information. If you want to say, oh, it's a reference, well, yeah, but it's a change. If he had started with the black suit and then switched to the red and blue, that would be better, but it's too late for that now.
Literally done to make you like and share that cool thing you saw.
No.
Scoring points for doing nothing but referencing something you enjoy from
Mandalorian is trash. Thank you, MauLer.
From something more substantive. Y'all.
Listen, I appreciate everybody who got emotional when Luke showed up, but Mandalorian is pretty trash.
Are easily fucking pleased. Oh boy, look at these suits. Put it in the promos. I beg you. Anything to tickle my balls. Lois is...
I don't get this, dude. I don't understand this. It's trying to show you the history of Krypton and where we've come and where we're gonna go. And we have Jonathan Kent and Jor-El talking to Superman, showing the human and the Kryptonian side of him. It's everything you would want for the return of Superman in this context. I just don't get it. Why this is an issue that we need to go over.
Actually, Superman's ragdoll, hence the lack of commentary, which means we need to talk more about Superman. Isn't it pretty mortifying that Superman's core confused state is that of killing anything and everything that's...
You mean the same as it was in the Whedon cut? Oh. You want to know why? It's because I don't want Superman just to come back with no consequences. And okay, let's be 100% clear. Let's take this is my take on bringing characters back from the dead. It has to have a cost, right? So my favorite example is Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock, Star Trek. Search for Spock, we spend a whole movie bringing this main character back. One thing is that trans rights. Go ahead and use this stream. For you can promote trans rights as much as you would like. Here's the thing: is that where was I? Yeah. So in Star Trek, we spend a whole movie bringing Spock back from the dead. So it takes a whole movie. We lose the Enterprise. We lose Kirk's son. Spoiler alert. We lose a whole planet. There is consequence to a character coming back. Now, like it or not like it, this movie implies, oh, we brought Superman back to fight Steppenwolf. However, because he is back, this will lead to the nightmare future if Lois is killed by Darkseid. So that sucks. Like, that's the consequence, right? It's like we save the Earth now, but have we doomed the Earth later? And I don't like that for Superman. I don't like Superman doing that and killing all those people. I mean, I like the end of Superman, the animated series, where Darkseid does kind of corrupt him, but it's really good. It's part of the character. That's probably the best version of that story. I'm not saying I prefer this, but that is the cost that they are implying. So yeah.
Seems like it could hurt him on top of being shown to go fucking nuts and kill everyone once.
Yeah, that's the consequence.
Lois dies, though it makes sense considering his characterization in Man of Steel.
Krypton had its chance!
We talked about this.
What was I supposed to do? Just let him die?
Maybe.
Again, most of the heroes in the DCEU are atrocity-inducing psychopaths. Though, in terms of...
I don't know why you showed the Aquaman footage, but I haven't watched Aquaman in a while, so... My opinion on that film is soured over time. Honestly, the films... I need to rewatch Shazam, not high off my ass. But I'm pretty sure Shazam Zack Snyder's Justice League and Wonder Woman are my 3 anchor points, but I'd have to rewatch Shazam. It might also not be very good. And my opinion might change. But Wonder Woman 1 is pretty consistently good in my eyes as time passes.
Plot, it's insane to me that so much pressure is placed on bringing him back to beat Steppenwolf and save the world at the cost of activating the cube, when they completely forget about the cube to focus on him and then forget about...
Superman would kill them if they didn't focus on him. Basic, basic reasoning there.
About him to focus on the cube once again. He is...
Yeah, it's because he flies off and he's not trying to kill people. So it's like, he's with Lois. She's calming him down. It makes sense. It makes sense.
It's your ace in the hole, you fucking idiots. You need to tell him the world is ending. You probably should have opened with that. Or maybe you should have told Lois to tell him. Like, the end of the world is placed in the trusting hands of hopefully he shows up. And he only does because he thinks they must have brought him back for something.
They wanted me back for a reason. I need to find out why.
When they could have easily brought him back because he's Superman and he died to save the world. Imagine he was satisfied with that being the answer. The world...
Well, I mean, in the DCU, Superman can, hear things from, across the world, so I won't, debate this too hard, but...
fucking ends. Imagine he took a day to recalibrate. The world fucking ends. Imagine he did turn up, but he was too late because there was no rush. The world fucking ends. They put no effort into finding him when everything rests on it. They just hope.
Be here, Alfred, I know it.
If they had gone to find Superman, MauLer would then critique it by saying, oh, why aren't you trying to stop Steppenwolf? You can't really win in this scenario, I guess, on that level.
What makes you so sure?
Faith, Alfred. Faith.
What the fuck is this dumbass line doing here? They know he's with Lois. They know where he lived, but...
Homeless Rhino, I don't remember who you are, but thanks so much for joining the stream.
They don't
man.
give a single fuck to try and contact...
We're trying to jet
Superman
through this.
When he's the main
We're almost
hope
at an
of
hour
actually
and a half.
winning.
Faith, Alfred.
Shut the fuck up, man. If it were me, I would likely do a reshoot where I have Batman be the one to bring Lois in, to be...
It's Alfred, but yes, never mind.
Busy sorting that out, which, like I said, fixes some issues on its own. And of course, have him tell her what's happening so she can explain it to Superman. That's probably what I would do, whether I was forced to...
My progress is getting better when it comes to this video. I promise if I react to other videos, it's not going to be this stretched out, but I had a long prologue in all 3 of these.
You away. He needs you. Fate of the world, I think that's the deal. He was pretty tense.
Well, I guess I do own one.
Anyone who thinks Snyder's cut is more coherent than Whedon's wasn't paying attention. The funny part to me is the shitty dialogue, the weird music choices, the truncated pacing, the awful special effects, and generally ugly-ass color grading is explained by having a couple of months to completely alter a project under the stifling view of a desperate movie studio. What the fuck is your excuse? Oh, hey.
He had a few months to do all this special effects and just put out what he already had? What an odd criticism, trying to portray Joss Whedon as this completely innocent angel who he was just under a time crunch and it wasn't his fault, and this is in no way similar to how it was for Zack under a lot of pressure to just finish up a previous version of them. It's the same scenario essentially, and I would debate the couple months, but that's irrelevant. The point is, it's just weird. It's just weird criticism.
Hey, that's a nice segue into the effects of this movie. Why do they have a shot of Steppenwolf sneaking a peek? He does it for a bit, and then they show it again. I know that he wants to get his axe. It's like he's a fucking actor from LA Noire trying to remain non-suspicious. It's just funny to me. Oh.
Whatever.
Oh my god, what the fuck is this? What is this stupid-ass bullet dance you have Wonder Woman doing? Look.
Isn't that the same as it is in the Whedon cut, though? I don't know.
Look at this equally goompy-ass glide Superman's doing. What?
Here's another thing. Yeah, so Homeless Rhino, MauLer is saying that Justice League 2017, because it had a time crunch, is exempt from these problems. And Joss Whedon is completely great, and he did the best he could with what he had, which, even if you believe that, the same scenario was basically applied to Zack Snyder having to go back and do this for his cut. Essentially the same amount of time. you at least have to like allow for that. It's just a weird argument. Let me break down real quick what my standard for special effects is. Special effects are like one of the least important things for a film. You want to know why? Because in 20 years they're going to look dated anyway. Just stuff from the night. Didn't Snyder have to like salvage a movie? Yeah. So he basically had to take a film and then finish all the effects for it and just get out, with no support from the current regime, a movie that he made years ago, color grade it, do the special effects, shoot a few reshoots with a limited amount of money to get everybody back because he had to pay everyone again. It's the same thing. But my standard is like special effects don't fucking matter in comparison to the rest. They're like maybe fifth. Like I think, you have like characters, story, pacing, editing, score, then special effects, right? It's like down there because in 20 years it'll probably look dated anyway unless it's practical effects. So when it comes to CGI, I'm like, listen, it might look bad. This is very low on my list, and obviously he's not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, but it's why I don't really criticize special effects unless they are either extremely egregious or have a different. It's all context, really.
The fuck? What?
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head.
Like, plenty looks solid, but you don't have the excuse this time for stuff that's just downright hilarious.
He does, though. Special effects have ruined a lot of these types of movies. Yeah. 100%. The problem is that we're making like bigger and bigger special effects films when honestly, we should focus more on the writing. This is a different case because it was a movie previously made. But yes, I completely agree with you. Special effects is like if you can make something extremely flashy, then you prioritize the writing less by default because people only care about big special effects extravaganzas now, in my opinion. Or the majority of audiences. I won't say everyone, obviously, because I don't, but you know what I mean.
Please stop, I can't handle it. What? Alright.
Well, he's mad,
So if a significant portion of the cut is worse, yet added in under half an hour, and so many of the beneficial elements are equally tiny, then where the hell is the time code going? Well, how about some comparisons? In the Joss cut, we learn that Lex has escaped his Bruce Wayne-facilitated imprisonment in Arkham, and it takes 31 seconds to get to Deathstroke approaching Lex from the beginning of the scene. In the Snyder cut, we learn that
it's all Michael Bay's fault. Somewhat.
Lex has escaped his Bruce Wayne-facilitated imprisonment in Arkham, and nothing additional outside of some cringeworthy acting to get.
The one time MauLer has talked about terrible acting with this guy, he has been on point.
The same frame in 112 seconds. That's almost 4 times as long to achieve nothing more. That Lex death.
But we can't say that because pacing, editing, and tone are important. They do impact the scene. It's like earlier when he's like, oh, the Joss Whedon cut is the same scene as the Zack Snyder Flash scene. And it's like, well, no, it's paced way different. The editing's slower so you can have time to feel something. The scene feels less like a post-credits tease put before the post-credits because the pacing is slower, regardless of the weird acting in the asylum.
Stroke scene is pretty amazing, by the way. Payment comes in the form of Batman's name being revealed as Bruce Wayne, something Deathstroke hasn't figured out for as much as 20 years, despite it being tossed around with no regard for secrecy, in as recent as this movie.
So let me get this straight. You do dress like a bat, like an actual bat.
Dress like a bat.
They speak a different language. Your argument is invalid. Madden and Call of Duty games fault. Really nothing to do with this. We got to fit that in there somehow. No, I'll fit that in there. Call of Duty is kind of to blame. Bruce Wayne, Batman? No. Yeah, I'm going to say in this scene, the locals don't speak English, so it doesn't really work.
You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne.
Worked for 20 years in Gotham. The fight comes, we'll need you.
Don't count on it, Batman.
Also, why do they care? But anyway, they don't speak English.
All of these people are right fucking there, you
This is such a stupid argument. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be harsh, but we established that they don't speak English earlier. It's weird.
Twat. Sorry, back on track. Let's look at a scene where the Star Labs janitor discovers the parademon. In the Joss cut, we learn the janitor came across a parademon. This sets up the missing people being interrogated about the box, because it's not in Star Labs anymore, but the scent is. It takes 24 seconds. In the Snyder cut, we learn that the Star Labs janitor came across a parademon. This sets up the missing people being interrogated about the box for the same reason, and it takes 71 seconds.
Because there's actually tension. Like, the pacing and editing is slower, and the tension and score build it so that I actually have time to process more who this guy is, because he gets more screen time in this cut.
That's not including the bonus scenes that reaffirm this information on top of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's better to reaffirm that, so that it feels less like a contrivance to get our heroes involved, I guess.
It's already near 4 times as long. How about the intro, where the gunmen are entering the building? In Joss's cut, they enter, go up the stairs, and then get the people into the main room.
Yeah, so in the Joss cut, it's more efficient, but in the Zack Snyder cut, you actually feel the tension. Like, it's designed so that you actually have time to, like, breathe in the scene and get into the scenario of, oh, there's, like, some danger here, you know? Or that's the intent.
In the Snyder cut, we watch this man go from the bottom floor, across the stairs, up and around to the main room, and it takes an extra 90 seconds.
If you're gonna have a throwaway character who doesn't expressly tie into the rest of the plot, I'd prefer to have time to breathe in the scene. So that way I can feel more of the conflict, I guess, in this context.
Zack even adds that they install a fake guard, despite the obvious nature that a secret alarm would have been tripped, and they want the police to know they are there. They call them to witness this, for fuck's sake.
We'll be making a statement shortly. Until then, if I see any movement, you'll have a lot of dead kids in your hands.
Well, that creates confusion, which helps them, I guess. Why is movie longer? Yeah. It's split into 6 parts. You don't have to watch it as a 4-hour film. It's the pacing and editing is intentional. It's like, that's the point.
We have no demands. We're just stalling the police while we do it.
While you do what?
These dramatic extensions that cause more problems are throughout.
They don't cause more problems. In no way have you shown how they cause more problems. It's just a different pacing and tone. Joss Whedon had to get it down to 2 hours. Zack Snyder has the freedom to do a 6-part, basically mini-series thing. It fits. Both of them accomplish what they're setting out to do.
The movie. And I don't know, seems a good idea to cut all this fucking bloat, doesn't it? Also,
it depends. How are you watching it? If you're watching it like in the 6 parts as it is laid out, then I'm sure you wouldn't feel that way, because it's like 40-minute chunks. So that's entirely subjective.
What the fuck? You see these guys exit the same van as this guy who went right by you, and there's no concern about him? Is it literally because you didn't see a gun on him? Why would you assume they're not together? Okay, how about scenes of visual splendor, like the Amazons firing the arrow of Artemis to warn Wonder Woman? Joss takes 23 seconds to say that Wonder Woman will see the arrow.
And you were complaining about the arrow earlier, so the fact that you're bringing up a positive in the Joss cut is weird. But also, if you're firing the arrow, it doesn't get used to open the secret passageway, so it's more meaningless. So the Zack Snyder cut actually gives a reason. I would love to see some more movies in a longer cut. I binge watch shows that are more movie quality. Direct-to-streaming movies that are split into parts would be a sick transition to the digital age. Yeah. Then you would have more freedom to pace it how you want. And you don't have to. That's the thing about Netflix and the streaming things, is like it or dislike it. I know, like The Mandalorian, you can have episodes that are 20 minutes, episodes that are 50 minutes. You know, it's more freedom.
Light up on the building, and war is on the way. Stupid, but short. Snyder took one.
Like, if Mauler had to go to the movie theater to review this, and it's 4 hours long, his complaint about the bloat would land. But then again, I would then just say, well, it's one of my favorite movies, but Return of the King, that's like almost 4 hours in its theatrical run. Why didn't we cut more of that bloat out? And then Mauler would say, well, it's because every scene was necessary. And I'm like, well, okay, well then, sure. Right, we'll break that down and figure that out.
120.
Because I like the extended cuts in movies. Sometimes it's good to have that extra runtime.
27 seconds to do that exact same thing, only to then add scene after scene of Wonder Woman gallivanting in an ancient cave to unlock a stone door with this arrow and find out through carvings that Darkseid got bitch slapped and he's coming back.
Yeah, you were complaining that there wasn't enough Darkseid explanation or build-up. Any additional stuff we get that includes the heroes into the wider scope is probably good.
Maybe. When the men bury the box, the scene is over and done with in Joss's version, but Zack feels the need to show us that they are definitely putting soil on that hole. Remember how Superman's scream is waking up all of the boxes? Something that you could have a character say at a later point in your movie?
Didn't call out to step.
Okay, so now he's saying, oh, why don't you just use expository dialogue to cut the time down? He was mad about the arrow, he was mad about expository dialogue, and now he's saying, why didn't you use expository dialogue to explain the arrow? Or, well, not the arrow, but this, and then the arrow, it's like, oh, why is it even used? And then he's complaining about a version where it's more useful, I guess. That's weird.
None of the boxes did, not until
Superman died.
It's like they were afraid of him.
Oh, look at that terrible expository dialogue, MauLer. Why didn't they just cut that and do it better? It's just, this is why this video is so garbage in places, because he just contradicts himself constantly.
Yes, they were afraid of him.
Which doesn't make much sense, by the way, but whatever. How
Okay, well, he covered himself there, but it's, then why even include that, dude?
long do you think Zack needed to visualize?
So he's complaining, so this guy, so MauLer is complaining about why not cut things that aren't necessary, but then in his video he has a ton of like arguments that are kind of meaningless, that are easily refutable, that could have been cut to streamline the video. But then if you ask them, he's like, no, you need like the full amount of time to analyze something, even if the analysis isn't good. So then I would say, well, then can't you see how that's a bit? It's a bit interesting, at least.
Visualize it. 5 minutes and 22 seconds?
Yeah, you gotta do credits. You know, it's a good way to set up the tone of the film.
Doesn't account for the full intro, by the way, just the Superman scream portion of it. Then there's the slow-mo. So many fucking shots in slow motion to try and justify this runtime.
Justify the runtime? What a weird thing. The runtime is the way it is because the scenes are paced the way they are. The scenes aren't paced the way they are to make it 4 hours. What a bizarre thing to say.
Slow-mo on Aquaman's rippling face. Slow-mo for so much of the action to make sure you absorb just what the fuck is happening before you're hit with hilarity. Motherfucker is self-indulgent to say the least. And that's a criticism for every aspect of his filmmaking on display.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
He even fucks the slow-mo up sometimes, filming the women and slowing them down, but failing to slow down the rubble when it's put in post.
That could be an artistic choice. I mean, that's funny. I didn't notice that. But
at least Joss can say he didn't have a slow-mo shot of a fucking sesame seed slapping the camera. It surprises me to the sum of zero that Joss would have cut this fucking seed out.
Because Joss Whedon, he's like, he can't do any wrong. Any wrong in the 2017 cut is entirely the studio and the pressure. No decisions he made could be wrong.
If you hadn't guessed it already, I don't have a single fucking issue with length. It's bloat. It's...
I don't know.
It's the inane waste of our finite lives that...
I don't know.
Joss can actually spare you from, in part. You guys ever think about this scene where Silas is dropped into the facility, moved through, and placed with other people ready for interrogation? It's entirely bloat.
Okay. Establishing shots, setting better context for the scene so that the tension can build more, so you understand fully what the situation a character's in, is not bloat. That's good. Is it necessary? No, but it's not bad.
We know he was kidnapped, and then we see him in the interrogation later.
But I don't know where he is necessarily. So it's not bad. It's whatever.
It's just like the Atlantean interrogation scene. Why include it if it's redundant? And this is strictly from an information time argument. If you want to argue for atmosphere, films could be 10 billion years long, perhaps.
Not necessarily, but whatever. It depends.
Next time we will watch this man climb stairs for 10 hours. Is this to bloat the film and get it as long as possible so that optically it seems entirely different from the original cut?
No, it's because the guy made a 5-hour assembly cut, and I'm sure there's filmmakers who would like longer cuts of their films, and because he released it on streaming, he was able to present more of it. If he had released it in 2017 as per the plan, he would have had to cut it down to like 2 hours and 40 minutes, but he has the opportunity to present it in its long form, split into 6 parts. It's a weird argument.
Cut to further prove how the WB butchered it, when in reality it's just a fat Justice League with different...
You're assuming he put in a 5-hour assembly cut. He if anything, he cut an hour out. You should be happy. But my point stands is like this assertion that it's made longer so that it seems different is odd to me.
Colors and different jokes, not to mention some bullshit stapled on and some better stuff.
Stapled on? No, this was the way it was. Joss altered it. That's just how it is. Joss in the studio altered it. That's just how you have to view it.
Moved. Because fuck me, Zach, you played the audience like a damn fiddle. Why do you think the trailer shows so many scenes that aren't in the Whedon cut at all?
Because to sell a movie that has already come out to an audience, you have to show them different scenes. In the previews for the extended cuts of Lord of the Rings, they didn't play the footage that is not in the extended cut. That wouldn't make sense. They would show scenes that you haven't seen, so you go, oh, I want to see those. I'll watch it. What a weird argument. Weird fucking argument.
It's to convince you the entire film was different. Do you guys feel excited for the future? Do you...
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Do you feel like it was the substance that convinced you to get hype? Or was it the bait? The pure, unadulterated fucking bait?
Why didn't Snyder make the same movie as the old one? I don't know, Reina. It's almost like he got fucked over and wanted to just do what he did, the full version of what he could do given the circumstances. I'm excited because this is kind of unprecedented, right? Like, through fan demand, we managed to get a version of the movie that probably would have been buried forever. Regardless of whether you like it or not, that's pretty cool. There is now more art than there would have been. That is a benefit. The guy came back from impossible odds. The studio system screws over people so many times in terms of cuts. I would love to see Edgar Wright's Ant-Man. It's not going to happen, but I'd like to see that. So to suggest that, the Martian Manhunter's the only reason, it's the only reason I like the movie. It's like, no, I like the movie because I was able to see the original intentions of Zack Snyder. You know, it was like, oh, that's very interesting as a study, and also I think the film is better.
Darkseid, Steppenwolf, Mother Boxes, Deathstroke, Lex is back, Joker, Desaad, Elizabeth Warren, Nightmare, Asshole, the Justice League table, Cyborg...
The Justice League scene was in the Whedon cut.
Movie, Flash movie, Wonder Woman movie, Rebuilding Wayne Manor, Batman solo movie, Justice League 2, Nightmare movie, Wonder Woman prequel movie? Why did Zack dress Wonder Woman like a fucking Dracula? The Bat Tank. Oh, that was a fucking worthwhile payoff, wasn't it? This is
very bizarre. I don't even feel like responding. It's just kind of weird. Like, I can't believe this film had reveals and then set up further movies because it's a serialized story. What is this?
Mystery box shit, guys. This is JJ's fucking forte.
Oof. Yeah, not nearly. Not nearly that, but...
It's literally what they plastered in the promo shit, you fucking fools. How about the ice breath? That shit came out of nowhere. Probably would have been useful in several occasions across this in...
Maybe he only got it after he came back to life. I don't know.
entire mangled franchise. And it relies on a third-party knowledge of Superman, because this shit is insane for a new viewer. But if you are aware of past properties, it might just give your balls that extra tickle. Assuming you aren't too busy reconciling morose mass murder man with actual Superman.
This isn't a joke. You can't murder people and call yourselves heroes.
Well, okay. Yeah, Superman versus the Elite is great, by the way. Go watch that movie. He didn't kill Steppenwolf in that moment. Wonder Woman does, but whatever. And then he kills Zod. But again, the whole point of him coming back to life is like, in Zack's vision, oh, he is now reborn and he can be a new hero. So he hasn't killed anyone yet. I'm not saying that's my preference. I'm just saying, like, weird criticism. Yeah, you can't like. Oh, in the past he killed people. Yeah, we know. Like, yeah.
Superman is almost normal again. That's good. More movies to come. Oh, and look, Martian Manhunter. Hopefully he gets a movie too.
Oh, and some have called me the Martian Manhunter.
Wait, but wouldn't you rather be known by your name? And who?
But he's a superhero. No, I'm just kidding. Martian Manhunter is trash in this movie.
Who, my good man? Fucking who calls you that? Also, why would you think describing yourself as a manhunter alien would come across as friendly to a superhero with...
Because Batman is a hero who operates on fear and literally hunts men, but whatever.
No context. Especially this superhero. Who the fuck talks like this? Unless they're creating a promo to manipulate fans. Oh, and you know what? We haven't really spoken on his scene yet. The scene where he comes down to Bruce and explains that he's invested in helping. He has seen people come together, and it's given him new hope and a stake in the world, when we know he had a stake in it already.
Yeah, no, Manhunter's trash. This retcon's dumb. 100% agree.
We know you won't one day act against America's interests.
He has...
But the weird thing is we don't know if Manhunter just took his identity later after he died or something. It's dumb. It's dumb, but it technically doesn't contradict. It's weird, it's dumb.
Actively tried to save the world on a regular basis in his human persona, and he's already seen the team up in BVS. Oh,
well, we don't know that, but he was, I guess he was monitoring if he was the general at that point. It doesn't matter. Stupid.
I'm sorry, where the fuck were you in each of the 3 world-ending events, you cuck? Why are you turning up once everything ended, with each of Zod, Doomsday, and Steppenwolf defeated? Fucking cowardice is what that is. I'm sure you're not going to tell me that he was added later in production to bait fans, too. Surely not. Surely Bruce doesn't look thinner.
He actually was, I know that that's the point of what he's saying, but it was going to be the Green Lanterns. The Manhunter thing was a mistake, but...
And older because this was shot well past original filming dates. And surely making Martha the Martian Manhunter in this scene wasn't an attempt to avoid looking like this was all dropped at once, right? It honestly wouldn't surprise...
No, you're right. Go to your date. Why the fuck are you still here? Go have fun on your date. I'm just going to stream for like 10 more minutes.
If the Martian Manhunter Bruce scene was tacked on, and Zack felt they'd already tacked on the fan-baiting Joker nightmare sequence, so he needed to justify this one a bit better, leading him...
Yeah, they should have just had the Joker scene at the end.
To take the Martha scene and make it a Martian Manhunter scene, to establish him beforehand to make the end look less fucking blatant in terms of the manipulation. Oh boy, that would be cheap, right? To use the fans that way?
I shot Martian Manhunter... the shot of Harry Lennox, a shot I didn't have, of him leaving Martha's apartment.
Yeah.
I shot it right down, right down in the driveway.
Zack just wants more movies. He wants to slap.
Yeah, because he got screwed over. They get off work in 20 minutes. Yeah, just go get ready.
Slam his $100 million action figures together again and again, and he knows how to garner support for it. It's all manipulation.
Or maybe he genuinely wants to include these elements, whether flawed or not. Like, it might be both. It's not necessarily one or the other.
Joker was marketed as having new and important scenes, but not only does he lose his trailer dialogue in the final cut, he only shows up in a fucking dream to offer a reach around.
I wasn't cheating. I Wasn't doing like, oh.
But we've established Batman's having premonitions, so you can't just say, well, it's a dream, because at this point it's like a consistent thing, so.
You broke the rules.
Like dropping this promotional shit that doesn't appear in the movie.
Yeah, like... sure. I mean, yeah, it's not in the movie, but then why do you care? Right? You're not a fan of this. I don't care because it's just promotional. The whole point of promotion is that it's not a one-to-one thing. Like, you can put in things or do things that can it's just like a shot. He took a picture, put it on his Instagram because he thought it was cool. That's not like it's not like manipulating fans, like, oh, all those fans that really wanted to see Joker with a Jesus crown got gypped, you know?
Probably because Jared Leto shot this for his private collection.
I am not someone who is loved.
Oof.
I suppose that would explain the nightmare sequence, wouldn't it? A scene that was clearly shot well after 2017, specifically to make it seem as though there's way more of a plan.
Yeah, so, okay, this is such a weird argument. If you are able to come back from where Zack Snyder was with this franchise, and you get a shot to do your assembly cut, but you also have the money to go shoot some extra scenes, of course you're gonna do it. You're gonna try to do whatever you can to make sure that the current regime sees that people are gonna be interested in your product. Of course you would. Why wouldn't you?
To have the entire conversation bait the deaths of characters, the arrival of characters, and the tumultuous end of the Justice League. It's all bait. Oh boy.
That's a serialized story, dude. You have to have something that makes people want to see more. It's just how it is.
Recycling footage just to get people to push for you to have your sequels because your shitty movies could never stand on their own. You have to bait sequels and a franchise because you are the MCU without the substance.
All those people commenting that MauLer hates half the MCU, why would he say that then? Why would he say that? Not gonna debate which has more substance. That's fruitless. I think that's a flawed reasoning, though.
Think on that as a statement. Justice League being this almost base plate of a story created by Zack, with two creators coming in to tweak it according to their respective preferences, resulting in two cuts. One being given every limit under the sun, from tonal to length requirements to not even having the script controllable to begin with, to the other being given full control.
He had to basically put out the previous assembly cut with a couple 3 added scenes, you know?
A ton of money, freedom, and
this is such like revisionist history, dude. It's not the case, and you know it. The current regime's all against him. This was AT&T forcing Warner Brothers to do this, and if you did the research, you would know.
Access to actors that would be rare for most. On top of that, the most important element provided that accentuates every other one is time. Time to craft his vision specifically, something the other did not have.
God, the jaw sucking off is just getting to me, dude.
I know that people are absolutely loving the Snyder Cut right now, but I've never been one to go with the flow. So let's summarize. The characters have been butchered through thorough incompetence, far further than Joss's depressing attempt at recovery. None of them behave with a shred of intelligence throughout the story. There is so little concern mechanically and ethically for the prospect of bringing Superman back, which is unacceptable and softens the significance of the event for this story, but that was clearly already the case in terms of Henry's screen time. Meanwhile, Joss had him say a bunch, and he referenced Pet Sematary, Doomsday, and has Wonder Woman pushing back hard with Batman pushing for the resurrection, fueled by his guilt, giving Bruce and Clark something to bond over when he returns. Compare that to Aquaman raising a small, unheard alarm right before it happens, along with Cyborg, who panics on seeing an apocalyptic vision of the future, of which he never addresses, almost as though the visuals were bait. What a shame. Lex's journey from psychotic to coherent was skipped for the audience. Not that he was particularly engaging to begin with.
The red capes are coming.
The red capes are coming.
Shut the fuck up. It would seem Victor is being praised, and he's falling the fuck apart. Outside of every complaint I have for his story in a logical sense relating to the man he is, the ethical questions are daunting, and only a man-child like Zack could give the power to destroy the world to a teenager and forget to interrogate the implications. Silas...
Wait. You're the one saying, why doesn't he... Oh. Thanks, Raina. Appreciate you. He was the one complaining that Cyborg wasn't taking advantage of his power and using nukes, and now he's like, the fact that he can do this, he doesn't address it. The whole point of his arc is to get to the point where he wouldn't make such rash decisions. It's the whole point.
This is a fucking crazy man, and he's responsible for the generation and operation of this power.
We're all at your mercy, Vic. Everyone's lives are controlled by complex digital networks that will bend without effort to your will.
It's not only insane for him to comprehend that, it's wrong for anyone to have that power. It's...
Yeah. That's the point.
What we're trying to prevent Darkseid from doing, you idiots.
Their free will must be ripped
Yeah, that's the point. Whatever.
from them, given absolution in one glorious belief. To serve him.
Bend without effort to your will.
Yeah, and he doesn't do that, MauLer. He doesn't take our nukes to attack Steppenwolf, which is what you apparently would have him do, but that would be unethical, and it would be weird if he did that, because that'd be just like Darkseid. Oh man, it's almost like you explained the point.
Their free will must be ripped from them.
The film is not ready for this conversation. The craziest part is that the one time...
And then if they put all of the exploration of that in, it would be bloat and or could be saved for another movie.
And he could use this newfound, unethical, incredible connection to save the world. He doesn't.
But then that'd be bending people to his will, MauLer.
Batman has to instead.
It is the burden of this responsibility that will define you and who you choose to be.
That's true, but we don't see it. He helps one person, and unfortunately, he probably destroyed her life. The implications...
Yeah, which is exactly your point, so...
and consequences of his actions are so much more interesting when he's also so naive about the world. This is prime real estate for a fantastic story. It could be so tragic while at the same time being so uplifting. None of that is seen or explored in a meaningful way. None of it is internalized. Instead, we get...
Wrong. The whole point of the ending with Cyborg is that he moves past that kind of behavior.
Shit like this.
Fuck the world.
Because this film is as vast as a long, boring brown ocean, and as deep as a droplet. You had 4 hours, and you couldn't even make the accident multi-layered. It's just a standard car crash. Apparently you...
What a weird complaint.
Rely on them. Did it strike anyone else as odd that when Batman...
Yeah, I mean, car crashes, one of the most common accidents is in ways to die. Yeah, it's weird that it happens like twice within a few decades. Or sorry, within a few years. My bad.
Man is recruiting. He's willing to throw a fucking batarang at someone in hopes of seeing what powers they have.
I mean, he knows what he can do. If he didn't know what he could do, then MauLer would be like, what, did he forget the video?
You're the Batman?
So you're fast.
Are you fucking kidding me? You have no idea how his powers work. You don't know if you caught him off guard, or if he has to charge something, or if he needs special shoes, or if he needs particular gear, like you do. You could have straight up fucking killed him because you're a moron. All of these sorts of things are very indicative of character. Like, there's this weird bit where Batman fucking kicks a bug down a hole and it splats. Because, for some reason it doesn't use its fucking wings.
Well, it was knocked unconscious. Obviously got kicked in the face. I don't know. Like when you swat a bug, and then it falls, using your terminology, it doesn't just fly back up because you've, knocked it senseless. You've snapped its synapses, or whatever.
Man is watching this, marveling at it, giving us the full Wile E. Coyote treatment, while fucking Steppenwolf is right there in front of him attempting to kill his teammate. Why is
in an ideal MauLer movie, there'd be just action, because characters would never stop for any reason, for any moment. And could you have shown that shot without him looking over? Sure you could have. I'm not debating that, but it's just weird.
Everyone's so blissfully moronic, like Flash, though at least Whedon actually had Flash do something in this movie, unlike Snyder.
That's fair.
The final battle, Flash is running in a circle.
Sorry, that's fair for that scene.
Until he hits the automatic win button built on nonsense.
I'm so tired of this argumentation. Because he complains that Flash doesn't know how to use his powers, and then the moment comes when he has to do something he's never done before, so there's a risk, and he's like, oh, it's an instant win button. It's like, well, that contradicts your point, then.
Whedon had him killing enemies and saving a family.
You're going in circles, man.
That's awful!
Not to mention this payoff being entirely at odds with the idea that the Flash had to loop for fucking ages to earn the charge for Cyborg. Here, he's completely reset, and then he runs for what seems like half a single loop, and apparently he's all good. That's satisfying. In the prior battle, Snyder had him giving a...
But he was implying he was, like, charging the energy. I don't know, the Speed Force. Yeah,
morale
whatever.
Boost to civilians while they climb stairs. In Whedon's, the Flash was saving people personally. He didn't even have time to ignore his teammates while they're attacked in front of him. And in Whedon's, the Flash was scared. This is early in his career, and he's only ever pushed people around.
So in the Whedon cut, it's fine that he doesn't know how to use his powers, but in the Snyder cut, no, apparently not.
This helps nerf him because he should be dominating these battles. It's not preferable, but it helps explain why we get to have battles that include the whole team, and he gets to the point of ripping the bugs apart personally by the final fight. In Snyder's, he was given a whole extra scene that's entirely embarrassing bullshit, and no nerf, making things fall apart even more. How the fuck do people think Snyder handled this better? 4 fucking hours and the characters are almost as thin, if not thinner, than a 2-hour cut. How the
2 characters are. Characters like Steppenwolf, Victor, Flash. Other characters get far more development. Aquaman even get more, but Wonder Woman and Batman and Superman were prioritized in the Whedon cut. We've gone over this in previous videos.
How the fuck does that happen, especially when the answer to me was as simple as having Darkseid's parademons flood in through a boom tube for Flash to deal with, pushing him to his limits as he wipes through as many as hundreds of them as they try to reach Cyborg. This could surprise Darkseid, explaining that he did indeed send reinforcements, but he didn't expect them to get this kind of pushback.
That still doesn't fix it, MauLer, because your complaint was that Darkseid didn't come through. Oh, voice crack. Didn't come through personally, so, you know, it's
a fix, but a tweak that could alleviate 2 issues at once. It's a weird disaster. She legit gives the sweater a big ol' sniff. Snyder's vision. The bad guys aren't any better, of course. Steppenwolf has an extremely thin background, entirely...
He has a background now.
Overshadowed by Papa Darkseid.
He's overshadowed to you. Because that's what you're focused on.
Who essentially just is what the MCU fans feared Thanos would be in Infinity War.
No, MauLer. This is completely disingenuous. Yeah, so Thanos, we feared that he was going to be this in Infinity War. Yeah, if he had like 2 minutes of screen time. This is like saying, oh yeah, this is what we feared he was going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy.
War, and kind of became an Endgame, you know.
That's fair.
I'm evil because I'm evil. And all of existence shall be.
Oh, I'm sorry, MauLer. Do you want expository dialogue about Darkseid's mommy issues, or would that be expository dialogue and therefore bad?
God, these villains suck.
I told you.
You don't know anything about them. Like, you know the base level for Desaad and Darkseid, and Steppenwolf's the one who gets developed.
Steppenwolf would fail.
That's pretty rich coming from the guy among trillions, including Darkseid, who forgot a fucking planet. You guys stood there and watched him battle 6 superpowered superheroes, including a fucking Kryptonian, and you're surprised he lost? Even though it's worth mentioning that a planet lacks a Kryptonian when trying to conquer it?
No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonian.
You lot are absolutely useless. You could have taken Earth. You could have had everything you wanted, but...
You blew it! You had it all and you blew it!
Actually, wait a second. Are you suggesting that if a Kryptonian were here, you would have left? Because you clearly can't fight one. In fact, you probably should have portaled out.
No, that's not what he's saying. If you go back to the scene, he's saying, don't worry, it's gonna get conquered. There's nothing that could possibly stop me. That's all he's saying. And also, I was waiting for it, but in Man of Steel, when they're like, all our territories got destroyed, I was hoping they would say it was because of Darkseid, but that's neither here nor there. But if you go to the context of the scene, that's what he's saying.
Out of there when he arrived, like your more intelligent predecessor. On that note, Cyborg and Silas weren't the only numpties in the laser sequence. Steppenwolf chose to awkwardly move through this doorway instead of blasting through, right to the mother box, which if he simply grabbed without a concern for...
In MauLer's reality, human beings, or I guess beings, will always perform at 100% efficiency.
Silas, this is another way he might have survived. Ironic. Hey, the hallways in this place are kind of human-ready. Steppenwolf wasn't smashing through all the walls, so did he do like a little goompy crab walk in order to get in here? Because fuck it, Hellbait. That is something I would absolutely pay to see. But still, I'm confused. Superman is basically a Kryptonian anomaly. Not only are Kryptonians essentially extinct,
We don't know if there's been any other Kryptonians going to any other planets with regular suns. Steppenwolf's line implies maybe there has been.
Man is the only one to reach this power level, unless you count Zod. These guys are going to be piss easy for someone like Steppenwolf when they aren't powered up, which only really happened with Clark. Wait a minute, are you telling me that the only planet to have a juiced up Kryptonian defender is the only planet with the old gods, and the only planet with the anti-life equation, and the only planet to have beaten Darkseid back irrelevant of the Kryptonian the first time? What a calamitous cosmic coincidence, Batman. Not to mention that you could have had that stupid equation for millennia, but you forgot a fucking planet.
See my previous videos.
How embarrassing.
And on that note, Master Yoda, how does a space-faring, multiverse-traveling culture get BTFO'd by an army of medieval fuckwit?
Because it was the Age of Heroes. That's like the point.
At least
in a film, we somewhat prefer underdogs to go up against superior odds, so...
At least Whedon had the Chad Steppenwolf pulled away from the fight after showing
and he was not able to break free. Not a very good argument.
Strong resistance to the gods because his battle was lost. Snyder had the virgin Darkseid suffer insane damage, bleeding the fuck out.
It's almost like he's setting up character development for a character that you say gets no character development.
And crawling away to be carried onto his ship while he fainted from the pressure. This is your main villain?
Yeah.
Do I even need to cite Marvel, you worthless
Yeah, like how Thanos gets decapitated in Endgame. Oops.
Fuck. Darkseid.
This isn't even Darkseid, it's Uxas, but it doesn't matter, that's not in the movie, so.
Only survived because Ares got distracted. This loss was brought upon him because the enemy planet did the unthinkable. They defended themselves.
And they were united, that's the theme.
Thanos fucking relished the competition.
Why isn't this character the same as the character from the film I like?
Let him have his fun.
Oh, if a main villain is not the same as a main villain from a successful story, exactly. Captain Antpez, thank you for joining us. No, this is Thanos. He's talking about how Thanos is so much better than Darkseid because Darkseid has had 2 minutes of screen time.
You understand what's happening here. The big bad's big bad boss almost died to the guy that Wonder Woman killed ages ago.
Yeah, it's because that was him thousands of years ago. He's gotten way stronger. That's implied in the film.
Even Thanos' defeat was infinitely more dignified than Darkseid's life.
This is such weird argumentation.
He's pathetic. Steppenwolf looks like a 5-year-old tried to draw a suit of armor. The bugs are worthless, and the two subordinates are just bait for the future. But what an epic
Yeah, when Darkseid gets axed in the chest, that's Uxas. According to Zack Snyder, and based on visual cues like the eyes, he's not Darkseid yet. No, it's no
battle,
problem.
am I right? They did what no other world in the multiverse could do. Hit him with an axe.
This is such stupid logic. Such stupid logic. In fact, it's hurting my brain. I don't have enough whiskey. We are going to end this
Not
very
gonna lie,
soon.
this fight was easy as fuck, and I'm embarrassed for the people who expected more than what we saw in Joss's version. You guys got fucked.
No. I did not. I got more of the fight, and it was made more sense for what the world building was trying to do.
Your very first appearance of the DC Big Bad, and he got completely cucked.
Yeah, MauLer. I don't understand why you have such a double. You have such a separation where you're saying, oh, these characters need to be more human, and then it's like, oh, the big bad got defeated one time, oh, he sucks. And it's like, he's not even, it's thousands of years ago, he's not at full power. This sets up a disparity. It's a weakness, like it's something that can be developed given more movies, but I know you're very reticent to consider that possibility.
Also, somehow, Steppenwolf combined with Darkseid put up less of a fight than Zod's fucking henchmen. Go home, you absolute losers. Oh, and then there's the plot, chugging along with all the fortitude of a dead whale on a desert in space. I don't know if you've grasped it yet, but no scene in this wreck is running on cause and effect. No scene could make sense to save its life. It's all incredibly convenient and impossible to boot.
Relax, Alfred. I'll take it from here.
Do I know you?
Batman went out with the team, patched them in, but didn't introduce Cyborg to Alfred.
Oh, you mean that scene that Joss Whedon kept in? Weird.
Okay. Wonder Woman didn't tell Alfred about Cyborg after their meeting? You would need them all to be patched in for this fucking job. All of
MauLer, Alfred knows who he is. He's making a joke. He's like, oh, you're not usually the driver of this machine. That's the point of the joke. He knows who he is. He showed the video footage. That's the point. This is like willfully not accepting what it's telling you in the text. It's not like hidden. It's there.
all this stupid shit to tell a thin joke, for fuck's sake.
That Whedon kept in.
Though it's also pretty retarded that Cyborg would have missed this rendezvous and all of them would have died if not for his father being kidnapped that very night, leading him to want to find them by looking into the right patch of sky on the right day at the right time. Why does Silas know everything there is to know about Cyborg's alien motherbox-induced capabilities? See,
because he's the only one of mankind to do any research on it and get successful.
Seems like fully understanding all of this information should be just a tad out of his reach. Nice and convenient for Victor to learn about, though. Why does Cyborg need a charge to get into the mother boxes at all, instead of simply connecting as a mother box created person? Why choose to...
I mean, I'm sure you would say that's too convenient, but I don't know what you would say because I'm not talking to you.
write it that way? Is it because Snyder had to get rid of the Flash for the fight? Because he's too powerful? Only to then drop an entirely hollow payoff on him to distract the viewer from the fact that you prevented the Flash from doing anything in this movie? Who knows? Aquaman is told the mother box needs protecting, and had he been told any later, or maybe saved more random fishermen, or taken one extra drink at the bar before heading over there, Mira would have straight up died. Pretty convenient for a different film's existence. How about the fact that the Bat-Carrier ship is given dramatic significance in terms of getting Batman and the team to the enemy lair, but in both versions is destroyed after the spire is sufficiently damaged. In Snyder...
if we had had more scenes of it flying around and doing cool things, it would be considered bloat, wouldn't it?
This version, it just turns back up to take them home. What the fuck happened there? Surely a cut where they simply look upon their victory and their return home is left ambiguous would be superior. Did
Yeah, that's a decent point.
anyone make that cut? Oh, did you...
Oh, this cut's so much better.
You guys see the absolutely abominable formations of their armies, both good and bad? At least Endgame has a partial excuse of rushing a bunch of dusted people into battle. This is 3 prepped and civilized.
But you don't know how long they had to prep, MauLer. You brought up a point about why were they there at that time and then Darkseid landed. We just don't know the setup. It's weird, man.
Factions previously having fought wars against a solid
We're gonna go to 2 hours.
unit, and they all flail across the battlefield. I hope Shad doesn't see this. Also, why did they decide to keep the cubes on Earth? Diana said they fought with warriors from the stars.
And he died. He died, dude.
Fucking take these ridiculously overpowered, horrifying monster boxes away so that Darkseid...
He died. Now, however, it does make you wonder, okay, well then who did the ring select after this, and why didn't they do anything? But we don't know. We don't know, man.
Can't reconnect them so easily, for fuck's sake. And is the equation really a bunch of symbols on the floor? How in the holy fuck does this translate to taking the will of the universe?
Well, we don't know. If we read comics, we know a bit more, but it's not in the movie, so it will be explained. What does the Infinity Gauntlet do to a movie watcher watching the MCU? Well, you'll find out in Infinity War. Same thing.
Why the fuck even ask? Inconsistent mother boxes, everyone forgetting about them, and I mean every single fucking person who knew about this great war in Darkseid's army that Desad said everyone knows well. Absolute horseshit. 3.5 billion Kelvin. The suit's malfunction. Silas's decisions and sacrifice. Cyborg's major gaps in knowledge and action. No missiles from Cyborg.
Oh, why didn't he morally compromise himself, even though I complain about the film not exploring that, even though that's his arc?
The plot armor, the luck, a giant middle finger to Aquaman, the final...
It's not, because this was created before Aquaman. So if anything, Aquaman gave a middle finger to this. And besides, it's the same as the Joss Whedon cut, so whatever.
The plan is insane compared to what they could do, and it almost fails in a million ways because our team is as retarded as ever. Only to work because time travel is fine. Which brings us...
We don't know if it is.
To the world building, in which our wonderful plot and characters house themselves. A world with consequenceless time travel, matter...
We don't know that.
Reconstruction, full military control, resurrection, worthless civilizations who will let each other die, even if it means their own people's destruction.
The Cold War, right? Like, that's the point, is they didn't stay unified. That's why we're in the problem we are now.
Embarrassing villainous factions and infinite teleports. Man, what more can they do to destroy the stakes? You remember how Steppenwolf is shown to be hit here? He then gets frozen off screen for 2 minutes until this happens.
Or he was knocked down. Like, if you get punched in the face and you don't immediately stand up after you're punched, does that mean that you're frozen?
That kinda reminds me of a lot of the shitty editing throughout this movie. Look at the scene here with Ryan Choi. He just blips forward because someone fucked up when binding these 2 shots together. There's so many examples. Blips forward because of the shitty editing throughout this movie. Look at the scene here with Ryan Choi. He just blips forward because someone fucked up when binding these 2 shots together. There's so many examples of these little flourishes throughout, so many times that people are off screen and therefore we don't concern ourselves with them. Not to mention how much bullshit was left in the cut. Zach, where did you learn to edit?
On a farm!
So,
good one.
Characters have been fucked. The editing is
But how can the characters be fucked if you didn't, like, give a shit about them anyway? I don't know.
Shit, the soundtrack is disjointed if not horrible. The aspect ratio, black and white bullshit, bloat, slow-mo.
But this is not in black and white, you're not using that version, I don't know.
And marketing were entirely constructed to trick people into thinking this was a meaningfully different and better movie.
I don't know how the marketing would convince you it's better, that'd be your opinion. But yes, it was meant to show you that it's different, and it is a very different film overall. The plot's overall, like, basic plot is the same, but it just goes to show you how you can have the same basic plot, but be very different.
The effects make me question things.
Joss Whedon only had a limited amount of time, so if the effects are bad in his, it's entirely not his fault. But Zack Snyder, even though he was in almost the same exact situation, it is totally his fault, and this is a bad movie.
Like, why was Zack trying to rip off Linkin Park when creating his Motherbox world? You know, special effects have gotten better since then, and that's not mentioning the dialogue that makes good, normal, friendly, wholesome, regular, everyday people reconsider the First Amendment. But how do we tie this all off? How about the theme of being stronger together, united as one, to defeat the hardships life throws at us? Only most of the team are pushed along by their respective civilizations doing nothing to help them in the first place.
Yeah, because they failed. That's the point. They're trying to redeem the failures of their cultures.
Take up your mother's
Uniting because they kind of live on Earth and don't want it destroyed. When considering why each character joins the team in this film, they essentially blur together. So little is done for them as people that when we finally see them fight as a team in all of their glory, you aren't thinking about how far we've come. Rather, you wonder where we came from. It's even worse on the world stage. The Amazonians don't help because they forgot that they figured out travel beyond their borders. Not that it's surprising these are the same psychopaths that drowned their own people trying to cage someone who can teleport. At least when someone is chasing you with that...
They don't know how the teleportation works.
That ability, it's better you put objects in their way, forcing them to decide on cutting through them or teleporting because it buys you precious seconds. Taking all of that time to drown your own people in an attempt to annoy this creature is deranged, and you...
They don't know Steppenwolf's capabilities, dude. Maybe it would have killed him. They're trying everything to do what you suggest, which is do everything you can to save the world.
You should be sectioned after serving a fucking jail sentence. If only someone cut that bit out. The Atlanteans don't want to help because they're busy knocking out rebels instead of dealing with the end of the world.
Okay. No, see previous videos.
And what about Man? Man doesn't know this is happening. With our team being absolutely useless when being combined and put against Superman, you quickly realize that Zack Snyder's Justice League is Superman. What the fuck is any villain going to do against him unless he turns evil? We have the theme of uniting together for our true strength smashed to pieces by showing the three significant...
That's the cost of bringing him back. That's what it is.
Significant races of Earth failing to join together against the darkness through stupidity, ignorance, and a petty concern for power, with...
It's so inconsistent with Aquaman. It shows the scene from Aquaman to prove the point, but it's what
one man we all look to get us through the dark times. Perhaps that's more poignant in a...
It is weird how he has the red and blue in the nightmare future, though.
Depressing way. Regardless, what a fantastic story. For real, though, let's talk improvements. The weird fish cult? They didn't eat Bruce. There was Based Alfred teaching an alleged actress how to brew tea properly. He even had some cool lines.
If I had $1 for every possibly...
Yeah, make you even more insufferable.
He's probably the only thing I can enjoy in this dark abyss of a universe. In the opening, Snyder had Bruce attempting to assemble the team regardless of an explicit threat, which is in line with BVS. Whedon screws this up and has Bruce assembling them because a bug splattered his box graffiti all over a wall.
Okay, thank God he didn't try to defend this. I was about to say.
All after having been shot with a net. No fucking clue what anyone was thinking with this. Gotham looked pretty neat though. Also, I was curious when watching the original Justice League because I figured they could just destroy the mother boxes and nobody addressed it. But then, in Snyder's version, they did.
Why don't we just destroy it?
Fire doesn't destroy the boxes. They're an unknown form of matter. And they love heat. Absorb it.
These improvements are worth $70 million.
Except they were already there. That's not what the 70 million went to, but you should know this.
Now that the mother boxes have been destroyed, how will you retrieve your great prize?
Wait, destroyed? I thought you were separating them back into 3.
I want to plug into the Unity, one-on-one. Fuse with it. Weaken its bond from the inside so we can break it back into 3.
The mother boxes have been destroyed.
Okay,
Good point.
Don't understand at all. How about based Alfred firing an alien laser gun at his new invention in his lab? Though that was pretty retarded. Cyborg had some extra stuff that was good. It's marred in extra bullshit though, so I don't know how much it's worth. It also cost 2 more hours. Based Alfred got to speak to Superman, but that really didn't have anything in it. I think there's more, but I can't remember. Jeremy Irons was pretty cool. The fact is, the core team is a crumbling mess of idiotic, creepy, ignorant, psychopathic, and ego-driven monsters, caught between a myriad of movies representing them in ways that absolutely wishes to piss all over what you understand about them. The disrespect...
But MauLer, this is flawed logic. What I understand about them implies outside knowledge of the characters, but I'm not allowed to do that if it's to offer explanations. I'm only allowed to do that for how the characters should be portrayed. So it's got to be one or the other. I either can bring outside knowledge and then use that as a criticism in terms of how the characters are characterized, because otherwise this is how the characters are just characterized if we're approaching this as its individual series and piece. So it's got to be one or the other, pal. Like, it can't be both.
Is through the roof. Fans of the comics must be furious. They dangle what you want, but snatch it away while revealing they don't give a fuck in the process. I'll bet you want to see the nightmare sequence, don't you? Because it'll be cool. Well, be ready to spend it with this psychopath. No, the other one. Please, stop being. Oh man, Clark carries himself the exact same way Superman does. There's not actually a difference between them. That's
a flaw with Man of Steel, not this. It's just being consistent.
Odd. You're not even wearing the glasses there, buddy. It's okay, it's fine. Our boy is gonna be A-okay. He's soon to have a new adoptive father, and Darkseid is only marginally worse than his previous dad.
Maybe.
Batman is given no respect from fucking anyone throughout, despite being the absolute lad that keeps it all together.
How did you get the house back from the bank?
I bought the bank.
Wait, what? Just buy the house, you fucking weirdo.
That's the joke. He's rich. Weird.
Other boxes had humble beginnings once upon a time to now be eldritch demons because Zack is an edgy boy.
It's because of New 52, but I'll grant you that misconception.
Aquaman is unrecognizable. Superman...
Oh, I'm using outside knowledge of the film.
viciously lasered off a portion of Steppenwolf's head. But I suppose that's nothing compared to his neutral state of murder everything. The horn lasering thing is especially weird with Wonder Woman right there. She never tries to string up Steppenwolf with her lasso. You could get information out of him, you could easily subdue him. I mean, think of the way you can combo it up with your team. It worked on fucking Doomsday. It would very likely work on fucking Superman, but she only gives it the one try.
That doesn't work.
You should really use that noggin of yours and try this a second time, Diana. This prevents him from further punching your friends while reminding him that he shouldn't kill innocent people as part of a rampage. Because that's the level we're at with this Superman. Sorry, I'm getting distracted from telling you how they fucked up Superman by going into how they fucked up Wonder Woman. Again. So, Superman, the psychotic Snyder version, almost executed the Flash. I need you to absorb that. He was stopped by a brave fucking soldier trying to distract him long enough to save the superhero, only to be provided a death laser. Pretty sure this gunner is dead. Pretty sure Batman is dead. That laser didn't just hit his gauntlets. What's far more important is that this absolute bullshit is never addressed by Superman or the League. Superman uses his bloody laser
like in the Whedon cut. Oops.
Against the Justice League and innocent people more than he did against invading, world-ending aliens. Who wrote this? He's very likely obliterated an innocent man for trying to save the Flash.
Yeah, he's not himself. They bring that up in both cuts, actually. Whether you like that or not, it is addressed.
And who knows how many people would be dead if not for Lois happening by. Holy fuck, what if her final visit was yesterday? Martian Manhunter almost convinced her to go back to work. Had his goal been achieved and she stopped visiting Clark's statue instead of doing it one last time? Superman would have fucking killed everyone. What the fuck is your motivation, you absolute Jimmy Neutron reject? Like, I figure I don't need to say it, but Wonder Woman and Superman were both assassinated in this movie. Whether you use comics or prior movies as a reference. She punched a guy
He's gonna bring up 1984.
Into a group of children and then compensated by hitting him back like a ping pong ball into the wall to splatter his brains in front of them all. Similarly, Superman is fucking broken, which is doubly unfortunate because he's barely a character in this film to begin with. Yet another bait and switch for all of you out there. Cyborg failed to use the tools at his disposal that gave him the chance to become a superhero. But fundamentally, in both versions, they failed to create a character that is congruent with his emotional state.
No, wrong.
We are told he hates his life and his body, but we aren't shown a meaningful reason why.
A meaningful reason why? I think it's pretty evident.
In both films, there is no physical suffering while operating as Cyborg. There are no significant references to a longing for his squishy human body parts.
MauLer, that would be expository dialogue. We can't have that.
There was no overwhelming frustration or confusion relating to the sheer amount of information coursing through his head. There was no lamentation on a career in the sporting world having been cut short.
Oh my god, it's implied. It's easy to infer this. I got this. I got this from the movie, dude.
There was no knowledge or representation that he can never interact in the normal world without being seen as an other. There are simply representation that he can never interact in the normal world without being...
It's because it's being shown, MauLer. It's being shown right there. You don't need the dialogue because the expository dialogue is bad, but in this case it would have been good, right?
Seen as an other. There are simply surface level references to him believing he's a monster. In fact, he shows us how incredible his...
Alright everyone, that's enough for me. We have 18 minutes. The next part will be the final part. And we will have finished this. I was going to abandon it after an hour, but I managed to get through it. Thank you all for sticking around. We will continue this tomorrow.